What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another week, another episode of a 30 NSG. On today's show, we're going to be talking about Deep Rock Galactic Survivor, or the spinoff. Survivor has surpassed a milestone for the company of Fun Day Games. We're going to talk about the brutal reality. We're going to watch a video that Waterbear posted in our Discord about the brutal reality of owning a video game store. I never watched the content creator Phoenix Resale, so we're going to watch that as well. And then we're going to talk about and look at the new Kingmakers game, combines medieval warfare with modern weaponry. Kind of reminded me, because Power World came out, it's Pokemon with guns. So now we're going to watch a medieval game with guns as well. So if you like what we do here, we just talk about news stories, video games, and whatnot every Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning to about noon Eastern. So if you like it, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, you can become a member as little as $5. Before I get out to all that, this weekend, man, I played a crap ton of games this weekend. Right, so I played a little bit more of the Division this weekend. I played Helldivers 2 this weekend. I played Sea of Thieves with my son this weekend, and then with the updates that they've done. And then I also played Final Fantasy 14 online, which I have to say I'm quite enjoying. I'm taking my sweet time with that. I'm level 9, I think, right now in Final Fantasy. So lots of stuff that I played this weekend. I've also played Deep Rock Galactic Survivor as well. So I played a bunch of different things. Let me start off with Sea of Thieves, right? Good morning, Dustin. Good morning, Eclipse, Motasbo, Wonder Rose, Dave Rose. What's going on? Good morning. Let me start off with Sea of Thieves. So my son wanted to play some Sea of Thieves. We went into the Safer Seas type of stuff, and I was completely lost. Like, I would go into the outposts, right, and try to get missions from, like, the Gold Hoarder, and you couldn't. I was like, what's going on? They've made it so simple, so easy to do missions now. You don't ever have to get off your boat, right? Like, before, you had to, like, grab a couple of missions, okay, and then you could only store a certain amount on you. Now, all you do is go up to your table inside your boat, and you click on it, and then pick the missions that you want to do, okay? And you can just constantly do it. They've made it so nice. So now you never, ever have to... And then when you start the game, first off, you take the first one on your ship, and you can go directly to that island. It makes you come out of the water like you're doing PvP, and you're like, the island's like maybe 100 feet in front of you, right? Then you park your ship, get right into the action, get your first stuff, and then you have to sail to the rest of them, unless you just want the rep, right? So me and my son played for maybe 2 hours, right? Maybe 2 hours, and we're like level 15 on the Renowned, the Season Pass, Plunder Pass, whatever. And I was just like, wow, they've made this super friendly, and I knew it. Last week they announced, or made it official 2 weeks ago, they made it official that Sea of Thieves is coming, right? Or last week they made it official, but 2 weeks ago they said it. And I said before that, leading up to it, I said, them doing what they're doing with Sea of Thieves, with this update, is to make it more friendly. And boy, let me tell you, it's hella friendly. Okay? It is super friendly for newcomers. And every time you do something in the game, it literally tells you. They've done a wonderful job with that game onboarding. Now, I think it's a little funny that it took them 5 years to make it this friendly for people coming into the game, to make it, new player friendly, that it had to go to a different platform for them to make it this friendly. But it's a phenomenal experience now. Really, really fun. Or I should say really, really fast, and it's fun. My son really likes it, and he's like, so when can I be Pirate Captain? I was like, well, you can only go up to level 40 here. I was like, and then in each of the categories, and then you have to go into the regular high seas. And he says, okay, I think I'll be ready by then, right? So obviously, the more time you put into here and he gets used to it, we got our butts handed to us multiple times. As soon as we started the match yesterday, in Safer Seas, we got attacked by 2 pirate ships at once. And my son was like, shoot me over. And I would shoot him over, and then I was left on the boat by myself and we were getting bombarded. And I ran out of wood. So we lost that ship. Then we got back into the ship. Thank God we didn't have anything to lose. But man, he learned real fast. He's like, all right, I'm not going to get out of the boat anymore. I was like, you think? So he's learning, and I really like the fact that we can just focus on playing the game without worrying about PvP type of stuff and just play within the PvE environment. Lots of fun, though. So that was my Sea of Thieves experience this weekend when we played, and he's excited to come back home today and play. So the rule is in my house, he's not allowed to play video games or do any kind of electronics unless he doesn't finishes his homework. So all of a sudden, he's very motivated. Okay, this morning he was already reading to get done with his reading. When he gets home, all he has to do is his math and stuff, and then he's ready to go again. So we'll be playing some more Sea of Thieves probably with him later this week. The other game I played that I was quite enjoying, and my son also played with me, was Final Fantasy XIV. And I know that Final Fantasy XIV is a older game, but I have to say it's actually pretty damn good on the console. They've done a really good job with the controls and whatnot to to play the actual game. Now, there's a lot to this game, right? The Final Fantasy XIV. And I thought it was pretty funny. What's going on, Travis? I thought it was pretty funny because Final Fantasy XIV is super slow. And now, I'm not saying this from my point of view. Like, I'm fine with it, right? I'm fine with it. I like going around collecting all the quests I can do in that area and then, doing it. But it took me, 2.5, 3 hours before I even killed, the small... I was, level 5 before I even killed anything. Maybe 6 before I even killed my first, rat or ladybug or whatever. And I was just I was like, man, where are all the people complaining, right? Because a lot of people are complaining now that video games, oh, it's so slow. Yeah, you get into Skull and Bones, and people are complaining that it's too slow. People are getting a Suicide Squad and saying, oh, man, it's so slow getting into the actual thing, right? And there's other games that they're just the beginning of the games are, super slow to get into. And I'm like, have these people played Final Fantasy XIV? Because I haven't up to this point. And when I started playing Final Fantasy XIV, I was going through it, and I was like, how many hours am I in already? And I was like, I haven't pulled out my axe. I'm a marauder for my character. I was like, I haven't pulled out my axe one time to murder anybody. And I was just like, what is happening? And I was thinking about it to myself, and I was like, people are complaining about games now that are so slow, and yet Final Fantasy is a beloved game, and yeah, it might be slow, and maybe they did complain about it in the past, but I don't really hear people complaining about or comparing it to saying oh, this is slow like this game was. And I just started laughing to myself. I was playing it. I was just laughing. I was like, how are people complaining about slow games when they're oh, it takes 30 minutes and it's kind of boring. It's I'm really enjoying Final Fantasy XIV. Really enjoying it. The one downside, obviously, I understand the MMO is a older game. The one downside, now that I've played Elder Scrolls Online and Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic, I'm really sad that there's not voice acted for the characters that when you're reading and stuff like that, right? There's a lot of reading, and I think the story so far and whatnot me doing is great. But I'm just man, this game would be amazing. It's good so far. And I'm only, like I said, I'm only level 9. So I think I have maybe 3.5 hours, maybe 4 hours into the game right now. But I was just man, this game would be amazing if it was voice acted. But that's not happening, right? Altart says, what do you mean is for the game to be fun, have skills, and all the MMOs stuff fun? Yeah, the grind, no question. I mean, what I'm hearing, 30, is that people have an attention span of a 10-year-old. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much, Travis. Oh, people was complaining about the story and how slow it was. Once you get into the new expansion, you realize that they fixed that. Got it. No, people playing Final Fantasy XIV aren't people with ADHD. Yeah, it's packed, first of all. I know it's crossplay. I'm in the first city, which is called Liam or something like that. And let me tell you, it is packed solid with people. There are so many people in the city. There's this one section inside the main city that we're in right now that I can't even see like the person I'm supposed to talk to because there's just so many people on the thing. So I'm gonna casually play through Final Fantasy 14. I'm gonna casually play through Final Fantasy 14. The little bit that I'm playing, I've enjoyed. My son was like, "What is this?" I'm like, "Oh, this is a game called Final Fantasy 14." He's like, "Oh, like, can I play?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I was editing some videos. I was like, "Yeah, you can play." So he was sitting next to me, and he started playing Final Fantasy 14. And of course, he's 9, so he doesn't care about any of the dialogue. And I was like, "No, don't press the buttons." I was like, "I'm trying to read, so I'm trying to learn like the lore and stuff like that." And he's like, "Okay," but he just liked going around the city and like doing the missions and stuff for me. So he would play a little bit, and then I would just read all the stuff out loud. And he's like, "Oh, can I play this?" I'm like, "I don't know." I was like, "Not yet. Let me play a little bit more, and then we'll find out." But he's just running around for me in the main areas. I'm enjoying it. It's actually a pretty nice game. Which is the biggest city everyone's at all the time? Everyone loves that city. Is that what that's the only city I started at? Like, that's the first city it came into, Eclipse. What's going on, Argus? I think I left off at the beginning of Endwalker. So I have a question. Once you get to level 70, right? Am I going to get to level 70 before I even get to the expansions? Or, I mean, obviously you can, because if I just do all the quests and stuff like that, you're going to go up. Limsum? Okay, yeah, that's the city. Yeah, Hangout City, from what I remember. Yeah, it is packed. I was like, holy Christ, there's a lot of people here. I haven't even scratched the surface of what this game is. All I've done was I made the character, got thrown in. I don't even know what server I'm on, to be honest with you. So if someone asked that question, I have no idea, right? I'm in the game, and I'm in that first city, and I'm slowly like learning the basics of the game. I'm level 9, and I know nothing. I'll be honest with you. I absolutely know nothing. There's so many vendors and so many different things that you can do. I just started getting like gear to level up. So I'm not even using the basic gear that I have. I actually have like almost a full set of just basic gear. But man, I was just like, this game. And you know, the sad part is I like it, but I just don't know if I have time. It's an MMO. And every time I hear the word MMO, I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I get it, right? Like, I put 192 hours into Starfield. I have well over 100 hours now in Suicide Squad. And I look at Final Fantasy, I can put 100 hours in, no problem. But I'm just like, do I have time to put in 300 hours into that game? And I don't know. I don't think I'll ever play it on stream, to be honest with you. It'll be one of those games I play like on Sundays or something like that. It depends on what class you pick at the beginning. At what city you go to. Got it. Okay. If you play one class the whole time, you might reach 70 by the first or second expansion. Yeah, that's the problem, Altern. Like, I don't mind reading. Younger me didn't like to read. Older me likes to read, right? So I'm playing through Final Fantasy, and I'm enjoying the dialogue and stuff. But I feel like I'm playing I feel like I'm playing a 15 to 20-year-old MMO, which I am, in at least the beginning, right? I'm just like, no dialogue. Like, I say what you want about Elder Scrolls Online and Star Wars Galaxies, right? Or Star Wars Galaxies didn't have audio, but Knights of the Old Republic, or Star Wars the Old Republic, not Knights of the Old Republic. Star Wars the Old Republic is fully dialogued, and it's amazing, right? It's amazing. So there's a lot of games that obviously the budget and stuff would go through the roof if they had to voice act it all. But that's the biggest downfall, I think, for Final Fantasy, is that there is no voice for that game. Mike says it's okay for a comment to skip side quests. However, don't skip the ones with the plus symbol. Ones that add usual mechanics or activities to what you can do in the game or new classes. Yeah, and I haven't joined. I didn't know if I should join a guild. I also didn't know if I should join a faction. Like, you could be like a blacksmith or you can be those things. And I wasn't sure if I should join one of those. And if I join one, can I join multiple or can I only join one? Oh, I agree. I agree. Some of the dialogue and stuff, and especially, I'm not really into the Final Fantasy like lore and stuff like that. The last Final Fantasy game that I played, I think, was Final Fantasy 11. I think it was Final Fantasy 11. I can't remember if it was 7 or 11. But anyway, I didn't mind back then, but now gaming, the landscape has changed so much, and I've played so many different games, and I'm looking like I really like this game, but I just don't know if it's going to hold my attention. You could do all the class jobs. Okay. So, playing that, I've been playing some Helldivers. Morning, Kylo. I've been playing some Helldivers 2. Late night, last 2 nights this weekend. I played with the boys a little bit. Played with Kingard and Akuta Papa, and we played with Dolphin the other day. That was fun. Then I played with just a bunch of randos for the remainder of this weekend. And I'm loving that game, man. It's just a really fun game. No issues this weekend. Got in. Well, actually, there is a couple issues, but small. Got into the game instantaneously. Could get into my own matches. People could come and join me. Some of the times I would join people, and they would what's it called? They wouldn't connect for some reason. But for the most part, loving Helldivers. And I'm doing easy mode I'm doing 2 and 3s right now. I'm doing like easy and medium modes because I don't really want to like sweat. I'm doing a lot of stuff by myself as well. Trying out different builds, trying out different guns. I unlocked the railgun. I unlocked the personal generator, field generator. Let me tell you, even on easy and medium, it gets a little hectic when you're playing certain missions. I was playing some of the bug missions, trying to get the eggs, and they swarm you. And once they swarm you, I died quite a bit, okay, because I suck at the game. But no, they overwhelm you. And then even on medium, easy and medium, playing solo on the robots, automatons, holy Christ, man, that is a rough time playing those guys. Not frustrating though in any way, shape, or form. Like, it's fun. It's fun. I kind of hate, though, playing solo in those missions because all you're doing in the defense missions, all you're doing is running back and forth, unlocking the doors, and then getting people to run. It's like a numbers game because some of them get mowed down, but most of them, make it through. And then you got the 2-minute timer to escape. And it gets pretty hectic, but Helldivers has got this special feel to it, man. The way they're just the content, the attention to detail, what they've done with there's like well over 20 different species or different types of enemies, okay? And each one has its own distinct how they react and what they do. And like if you shoot one of the hunters, like the head can fall off, but the body still moves towards you. You could take out their legs. Like, they react differently based on what you're doing with each of the enemies. And it's phenomenal. The attention to detail they've done in this game, I want to say, is like second to none. A lot of it people don't even notice. They don't even notice it. What you want, Mo? The automatons are people complain that they need better balancing. Well, they did tune it down, so you're not getting completely owned on like medium or easy anymore. But you know what? I look at it as that's a harder force. I don't want them to be super easy. You know what I mean? Like, there's a mode for that. Like, you could change the mode to be easier. One of my friends bought it, and he goes, "Oh, it's Starship Troopers." And I was like, well, no shit. I just think it's funny that Starship Troopers is out there, Travis, and people are talking like this is the Starship Trooper game, but people don't even know that Starship Trooper games exist. Argus says, Mike, also, Final Fantasy 14, you can only join one grand company at a time. So keep that in mind. What's a grand company? I don't even know what that is. What does that grand company mean? Or I guess. Hey, what's going on? I actually have a couple stories this morning. I didn't put them in the actual heading, but we got a couple stories from Helldivers this morning. We got one with supposedly they got like 3 million units sold. Okay. It's a military force that you can also get ranks in. Send out a small team, handpicked soldiers, quick for rank, and there's certain items, quests, and other things you can. All right, I'll make sure I keep a lookout for that. What's going on, Water? Helldivers 2 to me is how this is how Sony wants to do live service. Do it. I think that's on Helldivers. I don't think that's on Sony, but that's just me. We'll see. You could say that once their other live service game comes out, because there are other live service games that have already been out, like MLB The Show, is not doing the same type of stuff. You know what I mean? So, if they come out with the next live service, yeah, Sony funded it. It's published by them. Yeah. What I'm saying is, if the next live service game comes out like that, then sure. I think you could say that's the way they want to do it. But I think Helldivers did it the way they did it because that's what they wanted to do. All right, so here it says Helldivers 2 is already teasing a game-changing new feature. It says Helldivers 2 will also see new content like biomes, enemies, weapons, and gear, keeping gameplay fresh. Arrowhead Studio teases the introduction of the Luminant faction, which was in the first game, advanced adequate species with unique abilities. Craig Tone, thank you very much for the membership. Appreciate that. Helldivers 2 has only been out for a few weeks. It's already teasing new game-changing new features of the future. Helldivers 2 has been a massive success by Arrowhead Studios, both in sales and population. Success has been due to assist by the studio's open communications and potential upcoming changes by developers. These include in-game ways to earn premium currency, transparency about the future of the game, and insight into what content people can expect and when. So far, future content shared by Arrowhead Studios includes new biomes, new weapons, unlocks, stratagems, gear, and enemies. While most of these features are things that are unlikely to change in the landscape of Helldivers 2 drastically, the changes will shake up and feel of the game. The new gear grind is never a bad thing in the game, such as due to the difficult progression of the game currently has. However, the most popular additions by far would be new enemies for existing factions or new factions that also introduce a fresh, unique mechanic. Okay? It says the Illuminat is a faction from the first Helldivers game and currently only teased through the scrolling headline during the new broadcast, or the news broadcast, as occasionally appears on one's destroyer as the game's heavy governmental propaganda theme. The news also began brushed away from the rumors spread that the Descendants. These also give no exact timeline for when this is a new faction may come due to the massive success of the game. A release for them may be sooner rather than later. Now, as long-lived adequate species, they refer to themselves as the... What is happening here? What is happening there? That's muted, and yet those fuckers... All right, well, now you're going to be muted. Tab. Okay. All right, so through them, the development of nanobot physics powers, and also cultures revolves around the pursuit of knowledge, which those fall in pursuit of those goals being in lower ranks in the society, making up the bulk of their non-robotic army. Okay. It says they also come in many forms, and at least in the first game, it seems like a combination of best aspects, automatons, and the terminants are also go along with their powers. The main small scout units of them are watchers and observers, and these small robots usually come in heavy armored and lightly equipped with weapons. Their purpose would be like to be similar to enemies currently in the game that they also call reinforcements. Though the first game, the 3 variants of these scouts, they also be combined into 1, possibly 2 enemy types for the sequel. Now, the infantry units of them come in 5 forms. The mechanical units of those 5 beg to tripod, heavier armored striders, and the units that are very tanky and unleash powerful electric attacks that can also either slowly torture or quickly eliminate an enemy, Helldiver. The honorable infantry positions consist of a hunter and apprentice, and the former of the long-range firearm and deal damage via electric pulses. Wherever that later, the melee-based units able to sub-targets with the nanobot powers. Now, the final infantry unit of this is called the Outcasts, and they're members of the society who also fail to increase the knowledge that they have been cast out by expandable troops. They're equipped with a weak melee weapon, but also have an invisibility cloak that allows them to close the gap their outcasts are likely to issue, and they surround players before they discover. Okay. It says the original Helldivers had 4 special units that also could carry out over the sequel. And the first of the Obelisk robotic support dome, and also will be projected a barrier. This barrier would also illuminate, pass through, and will block any Helldiver's attack. The only way to destroy this is entire shield and destroy the core that will be exposed when active. This will also be interesting to see if Helldivers 2 stratagems will be able to pierce through the shield if it's strong enough, and the weakness will always need to be weighed to council members, and both in which is similar on their upper echelon of the society, entering the battlefield at heavy shields and nanobot powers capable of controlling other sentient life forms. Is unlikely these enemies will also be able to control Helldivers, but perhaps impairing vision and movement will be fair, challenging mechanics. So here's what I like about, not to say that these guys are coming into the game, because they're saying that they could be coming to the game because they were in the first one. I kind of like, and I said this, if you guys watched the podcast that I was on Friday with Lono over on Reforge, I talked about how this game shouldn't have a roadmap. I said they shouldn't have a roadmap. It shouldn't come out with an actual roadmap that says, here, this is what we're releasing in a couple of months. I think they should release the roadmap with inside the realm of the game itself, right? Meaning that just like they did with the automatons attacking and pushing forward, they just tell you that forces are attacking us from a certain side, and we need to unlock like a base. Let's say we get like vehicles, right? Maybe we get the mechs. And in those mechs, there's like a factory where mechs are being built. And if we want the mechs, then we have to go liberate that planet to get the mechs, right? And if we fail to do that in the 2 weeks or whatnot, then we don't get the mechs for that time being. And then until one opens up and we have to fight again to unlock it. You see what I'm saying? Like, the community around the game itself could portray what we get in the game, which I think is pretty cool. I think it's different, and I don't think other companies could do this. I think the way this game is and how it's structured, I think they could do something where we, the community, unlock the stuff, and then we get to use it as a community as well. You see what I'm saying? Like, I think it's cool if, let's say, all of a sudden the stratagem factory where we make the bombs or something, if we lose a planet where those are on, then we can't use them until we unlock it again. You see what I'm saying? I don't know. It's just, I think it's a really cool way they could do stuff. Now, I'm not saying that's what they're doing, but I think it would be a really cool way to do stuff, especially in the matter of war and battle. Like, they push forward, take the front line, and then we can't get our vehicles, or we can't use certain stratagems, or we can't use certain equipment. And they already kind of do that in the game, right? Like, you can't call your stuff in if you got to take those factories out before you can actually use your stuff. That's what I think they should do. Now, obviously, there's like a roadmap already out there, because there was Helldivers 1. And there's stuff in Helldivers 1 that's not in Helldivers 2 yet. So that's sort of a roadmap already, that you can see what's in that game, and they could potentially bring that into this game as well. I just think they're just have such a good setup of what they could do in this game, and it's very interesting with the way they can go. Trying to have Helldivers 2 success over other live service games is way easier than done. Other live service games are going to have a heavier monetization, and people don't like that much. But again, I think it fits what this game is, and I think that's why they can do the monetization style they can. I'm trying to think if we could do the monetization style in this game compared to, let's say, I don't know, in Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad's not charging for content, but they're charging for cosmetics. We haven't even seen the Battle Pass yet, so we don't know how the Battle Pass works as far as it's $10 and everything unlocks as you go. We don't know what it works yet as far as monetization. We know there's a store. We know they have a store as well, and their store is a microtransaction. It is a microtransaction. It's like $2, $1.50 or whatever it is, 75 cents or whatever it is, and it's only 4 items, 2 helmets, two pieces of gear as of right now. Okay, so I think they can do it well in their game, but I don't know if their game transfers over to other games the same. Waterbear says H2 Helldivers 2 is one of those games that just feels good. Definitely one of the biggest surprises in gaming this year. It looked fun from the gameplay I saw, and actually playing it is amazing. Water, I did try it on my MetaQuest, playing through the Steam Link. It's hella fun. It's so good. Last Epoch already has 50 plus hours in that game. It's good. Everything is wanted. Diablo 4. I heard there's a lot of stuff going wrong with that game as well, Eclipse. I'm glad you're having fun, but I think there's still problems with that game. With the servers, am I correct there? Come on, Jones. They could have called Helldivers Remastered. Well, here's another thing, Jones, I want to ask. Does this take place, does Helldivers 2 take place after Helldivers 1? Or does it take place during the exact same time? You know what I mean? Like, what's the lore behind it? Nobody knows. At least, I don't know. Is there somewhere that says it? Yeah, we talked about that last week. They built this game off an abandoned engine that they had to, like, piece together. Tasman says community completion with rewards is an awesome incentive. That's what I'm saying. And I think they could change it all the time. Like, we have something now, but then if we don't strive to stop them, we could lose it. Do you know what I mean? They're attacking one of our bases on this planet. And if they win, then we lose and we can't do a certain thing. And then 2 weeks from now, we can maybe get it back from pushing them back or trying to establish one on another planet. Like, think about this, right? Just think about this. Let's say the mech thing that I said before, right? Okay, we're trying to set up a mech base. Okay, we're looking to set up a mech warrior base for our vehicles. Okay, so now we can use mechs in the future content. We have a base that we found that they're trying to attack, and we're trying to defend it. If the week is over or 2 weeks are over and we win, then we have the actual mechs now that we can use in the game, okay? Let's say we lose that one, okay? And now we don't get the mechs. We're like, because we didn't, as a community, push together to win that one, we have no mechs to use. But now we're all of a sudden, the broadcast comes over. We're starting to set up on this planet a new mech factory, and we need you to defend this point, which is a different mission than attacking, right? So it's a defense mission where they're coming, we're trying to build stuff, and they're attacking that thing. And we win by defending it, completely eradicating them from the location, and then you extract, and then it builds. And then after 2 weeks, we get the mech factory, and now we can call stratagems with the mech that falls in the... That would be badass. I have to admit, that would be badass. So if you fail here, you can win again over on another one. Hell, I got Super Citizen status without even spending real money. Still freaking amazing. Yeah. Like, you can get the premium awards and stuff like that without ever spending... And you get a lot of it. If you put your time in the game and just go around collecting all the stuff... I used all of it. Got it all back. Used it again. And now... Right? Used some of it. And now I have like 200-300 again. And I've spent $0 on earning that premium currency. If we lose Super Earth, we have to restart the do we? Is that true? Feels like the Helldivers 2, I also haven't seen anything that looks like a sequel in their lore. Imagine if they get the mode like this in Battlefront 3, like Galactic Conquest. That's what this is, though. That is the mode that we're doing. Like, you're going around, and if we lose a planet, they take over that planet. They could take over a section. It is Galactic Conquest. Water says, I love the laser guided dog. Playing solo, especially against the bugs, Water, it's like a must. It's a must. Is Helldivers 2 the new Destiny killer? I mean, every game's a Destiny killer. If there's enough games out there where people are not playing Destiny, they're playing other games, then sure. I know you're being facetious, Crowded, but it's like, you know what? I don't want an ad. So there's one story of Helldivers. Another story of Helldivers. Why is this article so big? Jesus. Yeah. They have the writing of this article is so freaking big. Like, why? It doesn't even let me, like, look at this. I can't shrink this down. Look at this. I'm at 25%. I can't do anything with this. Look how gigantic this is. Like, who? Digital trends. Is someone blind? It's for us old people, but I can't shrink it. I can't shrink it. I'm gonna get like carpal tunnel trying to scroll through it. It's like a 15-page thing, and I can't read it because it's too freaking big. Okay, I thought this was funny. All right, this is an article from IGN. That's not the funny part. That's not the funny part. I think the funny part that, well, one, Crowded brings up is this a Destiny killer? And then we have a title like this where Helldivers 2 players are kicking teammates who don't have the meta loadouts, which reminds me of Destiny, right? Which reminds me of Destiny. Okay. So if you're not running certain things in this game, people are starting to kick you from the teams, which is so ridiculous. Can we talk about like the upper echelon of snobbiness that's happening? Like, dude, we're doing that. Gamers are gonna be gamers, man. Those people want the most efficient team possible. It's not even a boss fight. They just want to come in and get all the resources as possible. And there's people that are killing people out there that take their resources even though it's shared. And then there's also people that'll kick you from the group. That now this is also happening. I saw this a couple times on stream this morning when I was watching somebody play. That someone comes in and they start helping people. And then right before extraction, they boot them. And I'm like, bro, that's a dick move, right? Because I don't think that person gets the credit if they get booted. Unless, and again, I wasn't really paying attention, unless when you get kicked, you're still getting the XP that you get. Now, if this happens, then the person that gets kicked, they should 100% get that credit. No, friendly fire is always on, I believe. All right, so Helldivers 2 players are kicking teammates who don't have the meta loadout. Helldivers 2 only a few weeks old, and already players are kicking their teammates before games even get going because they're not bringing the so-called meta builds to the party. As Helldivers 2 players level up and seek out the rarest resources exclusive to the harder difficulties, the loadout becomes increasingly serious business. Okay, The community has declared a handful of must-haves or higher difficulties, including the SG-225 Berserker primary weapon and the Railgun Eagle 500 kg bomb and the Shield Generator pack stratagem. Okay, if you're not running those things, then you can't hang out with some of these people. And one post on Helldivers 2 Steam forums is gaining attention for declaring it needs to set a standard for 8+ missions. If they're using anything but the right breaker gun, kick, the post reads. If they're worthless stratagems that are weak, kick. If they don't have the railgun or need launcher, kick. Not using a shield, kick. Quote, if we need to set a standard for high-rank pug pickup group play, you can have your silly builds or weak guns if you're on your friend's time. But if you're not using these things, you're trolling and should be kicked. While it's unclear exactly how prevalent how kicking behavior has become in actual play, it's certainly sparked a debate within the Helldivers 2 community. On one side, Helldivers 2 players are playing to succeed, see nothing wrong with kicking players that suspect won't be able to handle the brutal battlefields for harder difficulties. It says, I'm not saying that meta builds are nothing. I'm just saying that people who don't play on the Helldiver difficulty are the ones who seem to suggest others to not use the meta build. So just Redditor YesMan868, he says, quote, trust me, there's nothing fun about taking a shieldless autocannon liberator penetrator loadout to the Helldive difficulty. Try that out at the time and tell me you had fun. On the other side are players who think that such behavior is shameless or shameful, because at the end of the day, Helldivers 2 is a co-op game about having fun above all else. Now, hold on a second. I want to kind of push back on this. I'm okay. If you're doing a pickup game, I think there should be some sort of standard, because people's time wants to be respected. Now, maybe someone that's running a level 8 or 9, they only have 2 hours of gaming. Okay, they want to make sure that their 2 hours is the most efficient 2 hours that they can play, so they get the rare abilities and stuff like, or rare resources as possible. Okay, so I understand if you're doing a pickup game, if your person's going to be trolling you and stuff like that, I get it. Here's where I think they can come in. Now, obviously, it's a pickup game. If you're doing an LFG, maybe you're in a Discord or something to find a group of people to play with, that's one thing. I think you should be able to make a private game so nobody can just jump into your game, or maybe make requirements to get into that game. That way you don't get people to kick, right? Have to have this and this to join. Maybe the devs can push something into the game like that. Now, I don't know if this cultivates a bad thing or not, but 8 or 9, I haven't played higher than 5. So I don't want to say that it's bad, right? But then also people are saying that the co-op game should be having fun above all else. That's each their own, right? If you want to have fun and you want to go around shooting people in the face and stuff like that with your friends, cool. Go all day. But if you're running around and you shoot me in the face, okay, and I happen to be the host, your ass is getting kicked, right? Obviously, friendly fire is one thing. Trolling someone's completely different, okay? One such player says he took to Reddit to express his disbelief. Apparently, people who are already starting to get kicked in higher difficulties for not using certain loadouts, they said. Sounds absolutely ridiculous to me. You're not competing on some kind of leaderboards against the Helldivers. It's okay to not do a mission 100% or fail a mission. Just reveal the chaos and have fun playing the game. We're all working together in the same name of democracy. But that's a difference, right? Yes, it is a fun game. And yes, you should have fun and you can do what you want. But certain people want to play with certain people. I don't care, right? Do what you want. Okay, I do have fun just playing the game, but I also play on a lower difficulty level, right? If I'm taking my time to go to the higher difficulty levels to get that rare gear, and someone's just messing around and killing people or not pulling their weight, it makes it harder for me, right? And I'm saying me, like in general, like if I'm talking for the person that's in level 8 and 9s, and if they don't want to sweat, then they want someone that knows what they're doing. And I think this also comes with experience. But then, again, if you are unlocking level 8 and 9, that means you know what you're doing. You're pretty high level up, and you should know or have things unlocked. And if you have things unlocked, but you're not using those certain builds, then you should already know what works good and what doesn't work well. So I want to know how big of a problem this is for people that are not running the meta inside the game. He says it's fair to say the debate approaching meme status with Helldivers 2 community. It says, shaming Helldivers for loadout choices. Shaming Helldivers for ignoring the automaton attack. It says, in response to all the meta slaves, don't knock it until you test it. You must only run the strong railgun and shield one. I will try the cool guns because it's fun. Okay, it says the sub got me like one word about the meta, and I'll kill you. While there's also a clear meta build within Helldivers 2 right now, developer Arrowhead will no doubt keep a close eye on the data to issue balance tweaks over time. Perhaps the developer will seek out to nerf or like the railgun. Perhaps it instead seek out the buffed so-called weak stratagem to make them more viable. Perhaps a combination of the two in order. However, in the case of Helldivers 2 remains firmly rooted in the finding the fun indeed of the game's astonishing success revolves around being the focus on one player. He says, even actively ignoring the meta as a play, this is the first game where I'm content with enjoying just the journey rather than the rush of the destination is so refreshing. Helldivers 2 is out for the biggest PC game launch of all time for PC or for Sony, biggest PC game launch of all time with the peak concurrent of 458,709. So look, I don't think no matter what you do, you're always going to have these like snobs for whatever game, and take that what you will, right? If you're a coffee snob, a workout snob, a car snob, a game snob, a Helldivers snob, a Dark Souls snob, whatever, right? All that means is that you're a person that wants the hardest level, but you also don't like when people come in and try to ruin your fun type of thing, right? So you want to have the best core of people that are in your team, and if they're not there, then it's making your job harder, and your job as a soldier, it would be harder, not your job as a gamer just playing video games. Some people want to have fun, and some people want to be efficient with their time, and I think they both can consist at the exact same time. It just so happens if someone happens to find a group that's being serious and they just want to be a clown that entire time, that might bump heads a little bit, and that's why that's happening for people getting kicked. Now, do I think it's right or wrong? I think, look, each their own. If this happens in video games all the time, right? The whole reason I started 30 and Still Gaming, my original channel and my gamer tag, is because I had an LFG way back when I was playing Battlefield Bad Company 2, and we were looking for gamers that were 30 and still gaming, because lots of younger people were just fucking around and they didn't want to play, and we were looking for people that wanted to play and were more mature, right? Say what you want. If you're more mature type of gamer, then I was looking for you to play with, because I wanted a group of people that we were all on the same page. Where if you were younger and more immature, I didn't want to play with you, because I just didn't want to play with you because you didn't have the same thing aligned with me. There's nothing different with this, right? This happens all the time, no matter what game. Happens in Destiny, you need the Galahorn. If you don't have the Galahorn, then you can't do the raid with us, right? Because they want the most efficient time. They don't want to waste their time. And if someone's willing to, come into that moment where they want to play with those people and they mess up a couple times, that's fine, right? Then you teach them, okay, this is the best, most efficient way to do it. This is why we're doing what we're doing. But if you just come in and you just kind of rub them the wrong way, they're like, you got to kick them, right? What's ways they can stop this from happening? They can make other builds in the game more viable in the end game, higher tier levels 8 and 9, instead of just what's being run as the meta. Or you can make private matches where you can bring people in and make sure you can, someone asks for an invite, you check out their loadout, and if they don't have it, then you don't invite them, type of thing. Or work for the person that's trying to get the group together. But it is what it is. Here's my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. What do you think about the meta loadouts? Is this bullshit? Or do you think, hey, what's fair is fair? Let me know in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe. If you like what we do here, check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. Then we have another one that we're going to talk about here. Waterbear says, I don't think the problem, but of course you always have assholes. There's always a meta in a game like this. There's always a meta in any game that's multiplayer, right? If you want to join someone's random game, expect assholes. This is why I normally host my own session. I only kick if you try to troll. Exactly, Water. Right. Let's see. I've played a lot. I have close to 40 hours, and I think I maybe came across one person that was like trolling. One person. I remember they did this with the COD zombies. If you didn't have a zombie skull knife, the shotgun rank, you were kicked. Yeah, it's always going to happen. It's always going to happen. Except there's a difference between improving and being a douche who says that it's the meta. It won't help them being upset when the people are a piece of shit. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Travis, right? Like, if people are willing to learn and why, right? Like, if you're playing levels 8 and 9, you probably have enough money or currency to unlock the certain stratagems or weapons that they need, right? And if you have that and you're choosing not to use it, and the people that you're playing with are saying, hey, you need to have this before we go in. Here's the thing, right? You can join someone in the middle of the match, and if they don't have it, you get kicked. But if you're joining someone before they even drop, you could be like, hey, make sure you're running this. If you don't run this, we're going to kick you. Because you have to have this to play on this level, right? Unless the guy that's running the opposite thing is like, dude, let me show you, and he can hold his own, then why not? Let him play. What happens if you're new to the game? No one will play with you? No, House, if you're in levels 8 and 9 and you're new to the game, you're not in levels 8 and 9. You can't play level 8 and 9, okay, difficulty level, if you're brand new to the game. You can't. You have to earn the right to play up there. I'm mostly on 6. My stuff is good, but not the meta. But I play with friends because I understand video games about fun. And if you're not having fun, it's not worth playing. Right. Here's the thing, though, right? Well, first of all, that it's a counterproductive, Water. You can't be in level 8 and 9 and be new. You can't. You can't get up to that level and be new. Ron Slusher says, video games are getting too complicated. This doesn't happen on the Switch. Right, if you're level 6, you're not new. That's what I'm saying. You can't you can't be that high of level tier difficulty and be a newbie. It's impossible. If you're literally trying something different in 8 and 9, you're not using those. Like, if you didn't buy the weapons, if you didn't buy the railgun or the shield by the time you're doing levels 8 and 9, like, you are trolling. Like, to me, this is not even a conversation. This is like endgame of this game. Like, the people that are playing this level are looking for the extreme end resources. And if they get those resources, they get to expand their ship more. Like level up their ship more. No one's trolling people at that level. And if they are, it's like 0.001%. All right. Here's the other thing for Helldivers. Helldivers 2 sample cheats are ruining the grind for anyone unlucky enough to play with them. Okay? I'm reading this. Haven't read it yet, but I'm reading this more of a public service announcement, right? So just so you guys know about it. Okay? It happens perhaps inevitable. Cheating has hit early in 2024 blockbuster Helldivers 2. Players have reported a variety of cheats to exploit Arrowhead's explosive co-op focused third-person shooter hacks, are adding infinite ammo, increased speed, and even allowing players to trigger God mode. Meanwhile, infinite stratagem glitch is also causing even more chaos on the battlefield. Uh-oh. Some players have also ended up playing in a group with cheaters who are also able to obtain hundreds of samples from missions. Samples are one of the key currencies in Helldivers 2 progression, with some of the only found in harder difficulties. They used to buy ship module upgrades, which are also powerful passive buffs that can also significantly boost players' efficiency. Obtaining samples is a big part of Helldivers 2 grind, and under normal circumstances, this would take players a long time to unlock the ship modules. Now, here's what I think about this before I even continue reading. If you do this, not just being on the team, right? If they know that you're doing this, obviously, they know you're doing it, they should be kicked from the game and never play again. Because this is why we can't have nice things. Okay? Because you're getting the medals and the resources in the game based on how the game is structured, how it's played. Okay, they're doing pretty fair on how to unlock the certain things. And if you're a scumbag that's cheating, if it's a single player game, cheat away. Okay, but it's not a single player game. It's a multiplayer co-op game where you're now messing with the system. And if you mess with the system, one warning, then permaban? No warnings, Travis. You know you're cheating by doing it. 100%. 100%. If you're doing it, then you know that you're doing it, and that means you should be banned. Okay? One player who ended up a group with cheaters wondered whether their progress would be rolled back before they played a match in which they obtained a huge number of samples. Obtained samples are shared amongst the players within the group upon mission objective completion. This sample cheating appears to be on the rise based on player reports across the Helldiver 2 community. Now, here's the thing. Well, it depends on what kind of person you are. If I got into a match, okay? If I got into a match, think about this. Just a week ago, people were playing matches and we weren't receiving anything. And people didn't care because they were just playing the game and it would fix itself in the end. Okay? Now you're telling me people are playing knowing they're on a group of cheaters, right? Because if you play the game for quite a bit of time, you know you're not getting 105 different medals and currencies on the map. So, if you're on the game and all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, we got 75 different medals in that one match, you know something's up. And if you continue to hang out with that group, you are now an accomplice to that group. You could back out and be like, oh, damn. Just know yourself that you might be getting that taken away from you. I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying that you might be getting that taken away from you because you were with that group. Now, if you're with the group and they happen to be doing it, you didn't know until the end. But at the end, if you hang with that group, well, now you're part of that group. You see what I'm saying? But each their own. It says, cheaters ruined my experience with the grind, said Redditor. Okay. In other posts, it seems kind of scummy, but they can also do whatever they want with their game and face consequences. This is just a bit of upsetting that he also got samples and ruined 80% of the grind. Okay? Like, that's part of the game. The grind is part of the game. The fun is part of the game. Okay? Arrowhead will be keen to tackle the cheating issue, given that the way in which this is affecting some legitimate players who are unlucky enough to find themselves picked with the group with a cheater. Now, the community is recommending those affected drop Arrowhead a line to ask for a rollback. Right. If you feel guilty, if you feel guilty, right, and you don't want your grind to be ruined, then go, you know what? I was in a group with a bunch of cheaters, and they'll be like, yeah, sure. You know what? I guarantee you Arrowhead would do this, okay, because this is what it sounds like they would do. If you were, like, straightforward with them, they'd be like, you know what? We appreciate you letting us know. Go ahead and keep them, right? Go ahead and keep them for your honesty or whatever. And then if you're like, nah, I don't want them because I don't want to ruin my grind because they gave me 1,000, they're like, okay, I appreciate it. And nothing will happen because you're honest, right? I understand it's a video game. You can do what you want your video game, but you're also ruining other people's time inside the game, right? You're in your own little group and you're doing your own little thing. Cool. Okay. Although 2 servers handled all players without the problem, Arrowhead is now ready to start thinking about improving the game in other non-server trouble ways. The thing is, now it has time to resume the original plan. Meanwhile, Helldiver 2 players are debating the right and wrongs on some kicking their teammates, which we already read. Right? How are they cheating? They are literally taking the grind out of the game, Jones, by unlimited ammo, unlimited stratagems, unlimited resources and medals that they're getting from the game. If that's not cheating, I don't know what is. If I can just keep throwing down orbital strikes with no timers on them, that's cheating. If I get done with the match and I have 1,000 medals and 1,000 resources, again, I'm just throwing a number out there. That's cheating. If I have unlimited ammo where I never have to reload, that's cheating. It's like, at that point, it's like, why even play the game? You know what I mean? It's like, why even play the game? Because they're having fun. Apparently, they weren't having enough fun. Right? Apparently, they're bored. And that's usually why people cheat. Usually people that are bored start to cheat. I'm not sure how they're doing it. It doesn't go in the article. It doesn't say how they're doing it. It just says that they're doing it. Just filter the game records for 1,000 medals, then ban. Right. Or, according to some, it's just having fun. You can't tell me how to have fun, 30. I mean, sure, I can't tell you how to have fun, but the company can. Because you're literally breaking their game and their economy inside the game that they've created. Like, people love cheating. You don't remember Game Shark? Oh, I remember Game Shark. That's because you were fucking bored. That's because you sucked at the game. That's why we did the up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, select, start. Okay, for the Konami code. Because you sucked and you wanted to finish the game and it was too hard and you got bored, so then you put the code in. The reason you played SimCity and put the infinite amount of money glitch in there is because you were fucking bored. And then you got bored even faster because you had unlimited money, and then you would just do all the stuff, and then it wasn't really playing the game anymore because you could just do whatever the fuck you wanted. Right? Right, Hemi. Why even play the game, right? See, this is what you don't understand. Game Shark and Game Genie, okay, were like fantastic for the industry. They went, hey, let's sell them so they ruin the game faster, right? Buy the game, then buy the Game Genie, and then give them the codes to do the things in the game so they stop playing our game faster. But you do you. You do you. Thirty just told us to told it is to get rid. If you used up, up, down, down, you're fucking sucked. That's right. We all sucked, Jones. That's right. If you used up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, select, start, hell, if you even know the code by memory, like I do, you fucking sucked at the game. If you didn't suck at the game, why would you need that? Right? I beat Contra 3 times in a row without dying 0 times. How did I get that good, though? It's because I had unlimited lives. Aimbot is not cheating. I was 10. Game was hard. That's right. Hard, and I sucked. So I needed to use the code. Now I understand the mind of a cheater. It's just for fun. Well, no, they're bored. They're bored with the game. And then they still want... That's why people have aimbots. That's why they're bored with the game. And then they just want to make it look like they're good. Right? And then they start believing they're good with like aimbots and stuff like that. Like, oh yeah, look at my kill death ratio, bro. Sure. Now shut off your cheat and see if you can do that. It's a multi-million, $100 million business, if not billion-dollar industry for cheats. There's people that literally cheat to get gold and cheat to get levels. I had someone contact me. I have a very profitable Epic account, apparently, in Fortnite, and someone wants to buy it. Sure. I beat Mega Man 2 the first night I bought it. No cheats. Good for you. If you got the packages, I got GTA 3. You did get unlimited weapons. You just had to work for it. Well, in Grand Theft Auto, you got those cheats because you were bored. And you're like, I'm just going to mow down everybody. Right? That's why people cheat. You're bored. And then you have fun because you're bored. You're like, I'm bored. I want to have fun. Unlimited ammo. Unlimited guns. Unlimited rocket launcher. Calling the ship. Calling the helicopter. I have a very profitable Fortnite account, and none is messaging me. Yeah, someone messaged me. I'll see if I can bring it up on. Let me see if I can bring it up. Someone messaged me on. You have a very profitable. What? Where do you go for your messages? Why is everything signed out? Like, my computer had like a conniption the other day. No, that's not gonna work. I don't know what's happening. I can't look it up. Here, I'll just turn on my Xbox. I'm going through the web. Excuse me. Oh, is it gone? Oh, is it through an email? On Xbox. Not on my Xbox. Through an email. This is what it says. Let me find it. Talk amongst yourselves. Did I delete it? Like, where the hell is it? Apparently, I deleted it. Yeah, apparently I deleted it. Yeah, but someone was like, "Your Fortnite account is really in high demand. Pay good cash for it." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." Yeah, but it's not about the skins. I think Argus. I think there's a weapon that I have when the game first came out that you can only get during like the Halloween event, like a flaming AR weapon. Every time I play, it's mind-boggling. Every time I play Fortnite, Save the World, and I'm using this weapon, people literally chuck resources at me because they want me to build the weapon for them. Because, you know, you can build the weapon for them, and then it's used until it breaks because they don't have the actual recipe for it. I have the recipe for it. So I have certain weapons that are in the game that are like super OP that you can't get. Because, one, people don't want to grind through it to get it, or two, you only get them as the Founders Pack or whatever. One of the weapons you get is like a pistol. It's one of the... I forget what it's called off the top of my head, Altern. But it's a Halloween-themed orange AR with flames, and it just murders everything. I forget the name of it off the top of my head. But I get people all the time. I could literally, I shit you not. If I said I was selling the rest, like not the recipe, but making, and I'll take V-Bucks. It'll cost you $1 V-Buck or $2 V-Bucks. I would have thousands of dollars. Let's make a deal, 30. I'll give you resources. You give me a weapon. I'll give it to you. Yeah, you give me the resources. Because it's really hard to get the resources. Yeah, if you have the resources, I have no problem. The problem that I have is everyone wants me to make it for them. I had a person give it to me where I had to make 20 weapons for them. And then someone else wanted it. And then someone else wanted it. So basically, I just turn my Xbox on. I go to Save the World. And people start messaging me because they want the gun. I didn't know there was a thing in Fortnite. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Here, let me see if I'll turn it back on. I have a weapon. We have a Hulk. Let me see. Let me go to Fortnite real fast. Didn't know Save the World was still a thing? Yeah. Yeah. It's actually more popular now than it was when it came out. Will that load up for a second? Yeah, Save the World, they made little changes and updates to it. So like mounts and stuff are inside the game now. How do I get to... How do you get to Save the World now? I don't even know how to get to Save the World now. There it is. This category. There's 16,000 people playing it right now. I gotta do an update real fast. Sadly, my brother gifted me Save the World when it no longer rewarded V-Bucks. Well, it still rewards V-Bucks. You have to do the daily. At least it does for me still. Which is still time. Like, you still have to put some time into it. You used to just get V-Bucks. Just log in and accept it. Does it still do it for the founders, Eclipse? Like, I can't just Collecto anymore. Where do you go to collect if you're a founder? Oh, that's my other camera. Is that my camera over here? Okay. Fuck's sake, another update? Like an update for an update. Okay, done. Now is it done? Yeah, you still had to get it by doing stuff, but only the founders can get the V-Bucks. Oh, okay. So yeah, you can still get V-Bucks, but you have to actually do this stuff. Yeah, you used to just be able to log in, and logging in would just get you it. All this to show you a gun. Another update? An update for an update for an update for an update? Gee. Okay. So let me show you. Alright, so this weapon right here, the Grave Digger. The Grave Digger is like this high-end gun that everybody wants. Okay. This is the gun that like everybody wants. This is the Founder's gun revolver, which is also very good. Okay. There's other weapons people can get or, you know, whatnot, but this is the gun that just wrecks face. And obviously you can level it up, right? Like I have a level 77 here. I also have a 51 that's in my inventory right now. But it absolutely just destroys everything. These are my two go-to guns. This is what people throw their money at me for, or their resources for. And you can tell it takes a lot. It takes a lot of stuff. They had a good system with this, but they just kind of screwed it up. You know what I mean? When Save the World started, it to cost $15. They removed the feature of earning V-Bucks. I forget where I used to go. You would go to... Let me see. Loot. I forget where you went to get the daily V-Bucks reward. You would just log in. Yeah, you can't get it anymore. But now you can go to quests. You can go to quests. See, my daily quests, I can get 160 V-Bucks from doing this, right? And it's quite simple to do, right? Eliminate 500 husks, any hero, in successful mission. So you do a couple missions. So maybe within an hour or so, you can get 80 coins. And then this one is discover suburbia location, parks, and restaurants in a successful mission. You might have to do, you can do both of these at the exact same time, right? Sometimes it's different. But you get certain quests and certain things. So if I really wanted
another non-enlisted robots and dentists and whatnot.
If I really wanted to, I could log in every day, play like an hour or so, and get my stuff. All right. I've been playing a game called Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. Now, Steam's most wholesome dwarf game took a year to shift over 500,000 copies, but its roguelike spin-off managed the same feat in just a week. And that's really nice to hear, because a lot of people don't know what Deep Rock Galactic was. It was in early access for a really long time. It's a fantastic little game, Deep Rock Galactic. Lots of fun, group play, 4-player co-op game. You're dwarves, and you excavate things and level up your characters. It's fantastic, okay? It took Steam's most wholesome dwarf game 1 year to shift 500,000. I think it's supposed to be shipped, not shift. Shipped 500,000 copies, though releasing a roguelike spin-off hit the same milestone in just 1 week. That comes from Ghost Ship Games CEO on Twitter, one of the main forces behind the Dwarf from Up Deep Rock Galactic roguelike spin-off, Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. He says, reflecting on some of the success of Vampire Survivor-like spin-off, he says early access launch was met with 500,000 shipments flying off the vertical shelves in just 1 week. Looking ahead, he says many more hot fixes are on the way and smoothing the experience to address the various issues with the game. A massive shout out to everyone who takes the time of their day to send us a bug report and error logs to help track down these bugs. Developer says on Steam, we know there's still a ton of things that gets fixed, but thankfully, this early access is for, and we also help to stick with us for the journey. As for new content, there's plenty to come, though you also have to wait a wee bit longer. At this time of writing, Deep Rock Galactic Roadmap says they're sitting at a new biome soon, new bosses, and awesome new missions. Okay. He says work with the first content update is already well underway. The Steam blog continues to shape up the eyes of the scouts amongst you. And also notice the roadmap on the Steam store page. We'll also post below some good measures, and the top part of the roadmap is a list of things that you'd like to add to the game in the coming weeks. So this little game that I played, but good for them, man. Good for them for getting 500,000 copies sold. It's a less than $10 game. This game could be $30, and I would pay for it. I think it's a wonderful vampire-like survivor game. We played it last week, and go check out. I think it was last Monday, so a week from today, about 7 days ago, we played it. So check it out. We even showed a little bit of it also on GXG on what we've been playing. It's a fantastic little vampire survivor type game. I think, personally, it's a better vampire survivor game. The graphics are better, first off. Not that the graphics sell Vampire Survivor. I'm just saying it's just as good as Vampire Survivor as the mechanics go, and then the graphics are really good. It's a cheap price game, less than $10 for it, and just a really good game. It's got nice little mechanics inside there, lots of content for what it is, and it's either that or buy one skin in Fortnite type of thing, right? So go check it out. It's Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. Again, I'm not sponsored or in any way, shape, or form by this company, but at the same time, I'm a fan of their work. I like Deep Rock Galactic, and when they said they were coming out with this, I was like, oh, so if you like that type of game, Vampire Survivor, Brotato, any other game like that, check out Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. Let's see here. Mo says, when Save the World went free to play, they gave you V-Bucks. Once you move into the new house on Monday, we'll burst out the Steam Deck and already have packed away in the Hive. This game, give a game a try. Yeah, it's a fantastic game, Argus. Either buy 2 songs on Fortnite Festival or a brand new game. I would buy the game. I would buy the game. Like games like this, I think a $10 game like this, you should see record numbers like what's happening with like Pow World and like Helldivers, like 3 million units. This game should be selling like 3 million units, 5 million, 10 million units. You know what I mean? It's such a no-brainer $10 purchase, and it's a fun game that you could put in easily 100 hours. And that's early access. That's early access. This is before they even add all the stuff that they're going to add down the road. Let's see here. There's a video I want to watch, but I also want to get to this one first. It says, new Kingmakers game combines medieval warfare with modern weaponry. Have you guys seen this? Have you guys seen this this video? Hold on a second. Nope. We're gonna watch this on YouTube. Give me a second. Kingsmaker. This seems like it's just a ridiculous game, but I'm interested in this. I love games where there's thousands of people on the screen. Like, who would win? A guy with a gun or an army of knights? I don't know what the story is of this. Is like if you're we'll let that go. I don't know what the story is with this. Like if you're a time traveler or something like that, and you're going back into these like medieval times and like change the course of a history. I'm not really too sure what the history of this game is, but that's pretty fun, right? Running around, running off with people with a car instead of a horse, right? You got guns. Who knows what else you could do with this? This seems like a pretty interesting. Now, which is weird, is just one guy on the battlefield. So the way it looks like, I don't know if you're controlling all the people or you just set it up, let it go, and then you're one guy in there and try to fight everybody. I don't know. I'll tell you what, though, if this was a co-op game, if you could do a horde of people and it's just you and your buddies fighting the entire, army of England, it'd be pretty fun, wouldn't it? Like, you see, like, you're controlling all these people, but then you get to control the guy on the ground. Now, this would just be a fun game to play, right? Get you and a couple buddies. Now, again, I don't know if it's co-op or anything like that, but it would be a blast if you could play with buddies with this. I think they would say it was co-op if maybe I missed it. Looks good, though. Looks fun. There's Kingsmaker. Let me go to the site real fast and see what Kingsmaker is. If it says if it's co-op or not. Reminds me of that movie with Martin Lawrence in it. What's that? What movie was he in? I haven't seen a Martin Lawrence movie in forever. It's called Kingsmaker, isn't it? Yeah, okay. Let's see. Kingsmaker. Go back in time. War-torn medieval era.
Where he came from.
Okay, and of course the history is save the future in the epic action strategy sandbox built the kingdom. Grab your gun and lead an army of thousands into a massive real-time simultaneous simulated battles, solo or in co-op. Well, that's a fun game right there. If you could play co-op with this, here, check out this, right?
We don't know where he came from, but I'll tell you, he built our village into a city. He's the one who trained our army, who grew us into an empire. I don't know where he's from, but if you think you can stop him, you're already dead.
Back to the future. Come on, Lurker.
Future. I hope he can save his own.
What? That looks pretty good, I have to say. That looks pretty good. I'm gonna add that to the wish list. That looks pretty good. And co-op. Now that is some just stupid fun to have with your friends. Right? That end part right here. I want to know more about this. Like you're in a futuristic city there. Look at all the skulls coming out of the right? The Back to the Future truck thing, and then all of a sudden he's in the past. That looks pretty good, man. I don't know. I'm sold. I'm sold on that. That would be fun to play with a group of people. Now I don't know. It says co-op, so it's 1 or 2 players. Let me see. No reviews, obviously. It's not out yet. This game relevant to you. 1 to 2 players, solo or co-op. They got a website. No website. Let me see. Okay. We're thrilled to introduce Kingmaker, a solo cooperative action strategy sandbox game with real-time simulated battles. We are Redemption Road Games, a passionate 20-person dev team that has dedicated our 4 years of crafting this immersive experience. Our focus has been pioneering technology, pushing the boundaries of Unreal Engine to deliver an unparalleled gaming experience. AI and cutting-edge online multiplayer code. We're confident that Kingmaker will stand out with the Unreal Engine landscape. Drawing inspiration from beloved titles like Mountain Blade series, Deep Rock Galactic, Kingdom Come Deliverance, Chivalry, Stronghold series, World War Z, and so many more, we're curated a unique blend of inspiration to give you an epic experience. We're planning on launching Kingmaker in early access on Steam later this year, and we'd like to invite you to join us in the incredible journey from the very beginning. When we open up our gates and community with a play test, demos, and early access, we seek valuable input to shape the future of the game, and we're part of the development process to share our desires for what we wish to see Kingmakers become. Let's see. Support the world. There you go. So that's it. They don't really have... So early access coming out. It looks pretty interesting. Yeah, 20 people made that game. It's maybe when you go back into your time, when you get all the rewards to upgrade. Oh, that's true, Paul. Maybe. Lurker says that's maybe the most original video game idea I've seen in the past 10 years. 20 people. It's going to be a hit. Apparently. Right? I think that's just the sweet spot, huh? That looks fun. I think it sold me with the Back to the Future truck, and then also just run around. The co-op is what really sold me. Okay, the co-op really sold me. That just stupid fun. You know what I mean? Like you're going back into medieval times with a machine gun, grenade launcher, sniper rifle, Apache helicopter. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna have server issues. That's true, right? Okay. This thing that we're going to watch, I'm watching it at 1.5 speed because I was watching it at regular speed. It's kind of slow. It's a 43-minute long video. Waterbear posted this in the channel. It's called The Brutal Reality of Owning Video Game Store. I watched the first couple minutes of it and I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. All right. So we'll pause and stuff and I'll talk over it. So apparently, what does it take to own a video game store in 2024? Is it worth it? Right? And a little bit of the insider stuff. I like watching stuff like this. Hopefully it educates us a little bit on what the market is and whatnot. So let's watch this. This comes from a channel called Phoenix Resale. I did a little backstory on Phoenix Resale. Apparently Phoenix Resale, who has 431,000 subscribers, he built his channel and his business. He's a gentleman that started reselling video games back in 2019 and basically built up an entire business by selling stuff from his house. So seems like a pretty. I'm interested in more of what his channel is. So we're gonna go watch this. I'm gonna go watch his channel more after this. But we're gonna watch this. This is talking about a video game resale. Kylo says, "Oh boy, Phoenix Resale. I met him at a local retro expo last year. Oh, nice." So let's watch this together. Okay, again, it's at 1.5 speed. If it's too fast, let me know. But I'm just trying to get through the video a little bit quicker because they're pretty slow, pace. So here we go.
They hated me for that. They talk trash. They kick the hornet's nest. They try to start fights. I never stop. I'm 7 days a week. I have a 1-year-old and a 6-year-old. I don't think I'm going to see my daughter walk for the first time.
Here, what we can do is we'll go 1.25.
There are a million reasons, like we talked about before, not to open a video game store.
Yep.
So, are you crazy? This is Mark, owner of Dynamo Collectibles. He opened this video game store in Fort Myers last year when everyone was telling him it was a terrible idea. But despite the decline of retail and collectible prices, an unstable economy,
is that too fast for some of you?
Future of physical.
Is that too fast for some of you? The 1.25, or is that good for you? Just the 40 minutes. Trying to cut that time down just a smidgen. Fine. Okay. I can't imagine owning a video game store, even a vintage one. I think the vintage one would actually be more profitable than the new ones. Personally.
What have we here?
Personally. Appreciate that new subscriber. Thank you. A lot of people were mad that he collected all their rare GameCube games, and once done, he just sold them off instead, collecting them like he said he was. He's a reseller. What did they think? He was going to buy the games and cherish them for the rest of his life? What I buy from you, it's none of your business after I buy it from you. You know what I mean?
Physical media, he's still managed to build one of the most successful video game stores in the area, and today, I want to find out how. Mark, thank you so much for having me, man. We're very money positive on this channel, and so in that spirit, how much money are you making?
This year, between card and cash, $250,000.
Wow. What's profit?
Wow, and how much of that total is profit, would you say?
About $75,000.
So
that's not bad. That's not bad for a business owner.
not only are you doing in this space really solid revenue, but also solid actual profit after everything.
Absolutely.
Really excited to get the store tour. As we're starting that off, can you give me your origin story of flipping video games? Because it's one of the most fascinating ones I've ever heard.
Thank you. So let's go. Basically during COVID, the beginning.
Dun, dun, dun.
Needed a way to help sustain my family.
As many of us did.
And also collect video games.
And also collect video games, which is actually the real reason he wanted to do it. You only need one copy if you're a collector. When you bought 2 copies, you should have known. Right. Hey, I have 15 copies of GoldenEye. I'm a real big fan.
So I have a really big social media following, and I decided
12,000. That's not real big. That's not real big. I have 12 times less, but you know,
monetize it. I made a post saying, I'm gonna buy video games. And I ended up getting like 10, 20 messages. It was crazy. So I bought everything. Just put all my money on the line, bought everything.
Yeah. And what platform was this on, and what was
Twitter.
your content?
He said, I want to buy video games. And people that have video games going, I have these, I don't know what to do with them. They're like, they just want the money. Right? That's a buyer's market.
About
Twitter, and my content was about Magic the Gathering and how much I hated my serving job that I served for 20 years. So it was kind of like a dual action type of account.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of people in from different backgrounds. So that means a lot of people that play video games. During COVID, a lot of people need money. And
yeah. Yeah, when someone's looking to sell something, they need the money. So you have the leverage. If you're a buyer, when someone's trying to sell stuff, they're on the ropes right off the bat. If you're selling something, you want to try to get rid of it. And the person that's trying to buy it wants to get it for you for the cheapest price. So
a lot of people were in that position where they needed to stretch every dollar that they had.
Yeah.
So that meant them selling to me, and I collected all the stuff that I always wanted.
And when you put yourself out there saying, I'm buying video games, people that are too lazy to go look to sell those games, right? Because they know that if they go to GameStop, they're getting shit for it. Okay? They're going to get shit for it. So if someone says, I'm buying video games, someone's like, all right, I'll sell it.
That means lots of cool games I never had. Earthbound, Chrono Trigger, like just the coolest Super Nintendo games.
Yeah.
By the way, this is the 3DS section, Vita section, some cool stuff, PS3, PS4 bangers.
Yeah, pretty
Wii
eclectic mix in here. You got Switch.
Water's water.
Yeah, lots of the really cool games. One of my favorites, Sunset Riders on the Genesis. I know, I'm just really proud, sorry. So what happened was I decided to sell all the excess games that I had. There were a lot of doubles, a lot of triples, a lot of Super Mario World.
The stuff that you weren't collecting.
Exactly. So I put it all on eBay without knowing how much game prices had spiked. I looked at my first eBay sale and I thought to myself, whoa, there's something to this. So I decided to make another.
Hold on one second. I want to go back to this real fast. Nintendo White Wii Sports Console System Complete In-Box Bundle, $100. Not bad.
It spiked. I looked at my first eBay sale and I thought to myself, whoa, there's something to this. So I decided to make another post. Hey, I'm buying video games. 10 messages, 15 messages, 20 messages. I ended up getting probably around 40 messages in my first week of doing it.
Sourcing on Twitter.
On Twitter,
by the way.
This is just Twitter. This
I've
is not
never-
Facebook.
Yeah.
This is not Instagram. This is not locally. This is strictly Twitter. All those spikes in games made me realize, yeah, there's something to this. So I bought more and more and more until my house looked like a hoarder's nightmare. And my wife got to the
Well, this is not his house. Hold on a second.
So I bought more.
I just want to look at this for a second. Look at all of those.
And more.
My God, that's a nice fucking house. Let me tell you. Look at that room, dude. I think this is just pictures off internet. I don't think this is his. He's just making the point.
And more until my house.
That's crazy. That's a crazy. That's a lot of. Jesus Christ, that's a lot of shit. That's a lot of shit.
Looked like a hoarder's nightmare.
Is this AI built? This has got to be a. That's AI. That's AI.
And my wife got to the point where she was like, Mark, you got to do something about this. My living room was filled with games. My garage was filled with games. My office was filled with games. She was going absolutely ballistic. There were a lot of lonely nights on the couch because she was just like, if you don't get this stuff cleared out, I'm going to go crazy.
The home business was taken over.
It was absolutely insane. It was 7 days a week, 70-hour work weeks, listing, taking pictures, shipping. This is my N64 section.
Yeah, see, that's the thing that I always joke, right? I'm like, every time I drive down where I live, there's not really much to do for kids, right? For young people, young teenagers, kids, even young adults. There's nothing around. You got to drive like 5-6 miles. You get like, to a comic book shop. But there's so many people around the area that I'm in, but nothing around here. And they're building a brand new shopping plaza. I go, they got to build like a video game store or a comic shop. I said they would make a lot of money just based on the amount of people in the vicinity area, right? You have like 7 schools between elementary and like high school within a 2-mile radius of this area, right? And if you open up a shop like this, or if you opened up a shop of comic books, you would make a killing, okay? But the problem with that is what he's doing. Most of his stuff is probably selling stuff online or selling stuff, just the cataloging of all this stuff and taking the pictures and doing all that thing. There's a lot of fucking work that goes into this.
Which, by the way, very commendable. N64.
Thank you.
Here. I see very few game stores that have.
Oh, what's he got there? What's he got there? A couple games. Cruising USA, NBA Jam, NBA Jam 2, WWE 2K. What is that? What was that? 2002? Top Gear Rally. Got Pac-Man.
Have half this many. And
You got Star Fox.
64.
This
games.
is one of my babies. I have a couple
curious.
babies in here.
Yeah. Before we get too far into the story, like, how do you stay stocked with these?
I buy for more and I sell for less.
So far, Titan. So far, it's a secondhand store. That's all he sells. It doesn't look like he sells any kind of new games.
Yes. It sounds like a terrible business model, but I operate on velocity over margins. I think if you're willing to buy a game for $30 and sell it for $45, you're going to make more money in the long run than if you buy that game for $20 and try to wait 8 months to.
I think the difference, though, Kylo, and here's what Kylo said in chat. He says, I feel like video game reselling is very hit or miss. Owning a store like that requires locals to actually choose to come to your store and sell their stuff in a fraction of the price. Well, here's the thing. The internet exists, right? The internet exists. Sure, to have a brick and mortar store, you need that locals to come in and stuff. And I'm sure that he does some local events or goes places. I would assume as a smart business owner that made $250,000 and $75,000 profit this year or last year or whatever. He's doing something with the community, right? You got a network and whatnot. But the internet exists. You can sell your stuff. Like, for instance, when I bought the Transformers Fall from Cybertron, they were listing that shit online for $200. I literally walked into the store and said, do you have this copy? And they sold it to me for $48. They still made money off of that thing, but it wasn't the $200 price tag. They put it up on the internet, and they can make better margins and whatnot for shipping and whatnot, but they'll make more money if they sell them and ship them out than if they sell them to locals. Nostalgia is what sells it for the locals. You walk in, a mom or dad who played the video games goes, man, I really want that Ultimate Alliance, right? Like, I would buy that Ultimate Alliance if I didn't own one already.
Sell it for $50 or $60.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
just marking things up.
Let me rewind a little
If you're
bit.
willing to buy a game for $30 and sell it for $45, you're going to make more money in the long run than if you buy that game for $20 and try to wait 8 months to sell it for $50 or $60.
Oh my god.
Hear what he said there? He's buying it for like $30 and just doing a minuscule upsale. He's selling it for cheaper instead of putting it for higher and then waiting and sitting on the shelf space for a while, right? He's making money. He doesn't need to make all the money.
Just marking things up way
I
too
love
much.
that. One thing we always say on this channel is buy low, sell fast. So we'll get deeper into that
Definitely.
later. But sorry, I interrupted your story.
We're both terrible.
you're in heavy home business mode.
Heavy
it's
home
becoming
business
too
mode.
much.
It's
Then what
becoming way
happened?
too much. So next logical step, flea market. Why the heck not? So we go to the flea market, we start bringing all of my inventory, which my wife loved, and we start selling. All of a sudden, we're doing like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 weekends on.
At a flea market. I think I'm in the wrong business.
Just a flea market, 2 little booths.
Oh my gosh.
It was insane. So we started doing killer business at the
Yeah.
flea market. I start to think to myself, maybe it's time to start a store.
Wow.
And that's how it happened.
How long ago now have you had a store?
It's been about 1 year and 6 months.
Okay.
And it's grown from a tiny, nothing on the walls, maybe 5 racks, maybe 2, I think it was like 2 showcases. We were just a baby. And it went from this tiny little passion project to a monster in about a year.
That's a nice change of his store, man. It's a look. I look at it. I look at it like this, right? There's no difference in what this guy's doing with his store for this niche market for retro games that people are looking for, and what I'm doing on YouTube or anybody else is doing on YouTube. Have a niche market of people that watch, enjoy, people that walk into his stores, buy an actual thing, sell their actual stuff. Like, it's very interesting to see, right? This is not a massive store. Probably like 200 square feet, maybe 400 square feet.
Crazy. We'll definitely have to ask you what principles you implemented to grow so fast, but looks like we're getting into the Pokemon section of the store.
Yes, this is actually something we started a year ago. We decided to pivot into Pokemon because I got like so many calls a week about.
I know nothing about Pokemon cards. But that one card, now I know there's cards out there that are like thousands and millions of dollars, and I understand that. But are you telling me that one card, $15, $27? No wonder microtransactions are $50.
do you buy Pokemon? Do you sell Pokemon? And I always said no, I always said no, I always said no. Didn't want anything to do with it because it's a fickle market. That's the tough part about it. But what's not fickle is sealed. And one day a guy just came in with a binder. I didn't know anything about it, but I decided, you know, what the heck. I looked, I saw like Charizards, the Blastoises from base set.
Yeah.
I knew those. So
that single page there is like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like $500 on that page for 9 cards, 12 cards.
I made the guy an offer, and apparently it was better than the other place that he went to. So he sold it to me happily.
Wow.
We had no idea what we were doing. We were putting out $1, $2 cards in the only small case that we had.
Okay.
That whole case sold in the first week.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was pretty crazy. Again, I said this before. This is the theme. We realized there was something there.
Yeah.
We started buying Pokemon cards, started posting about how we were buying Pokemon cards, started posting about how we were buying Pokemon sealed product, made some friends in the area, made some connections with some local Pokemon resellers.
Do you see what he's saying?
Thanks for becoming a member.
He's working with other people in the community and starts to make connections, right? And that's how he's driving his sales and stuff like that. Good Papa, thank you very much for the 13 months. Yeah, people complain about the microtransactions, then go buy a piece of plastic for the same price. Yeah, it's crazy.
And we blossomed into this incredible place to go get Pokemon singles, to get packs, to get...
Yeah, I'm confused now. $6 pack of cards. And there could be a card inside there that's worth $10. What the hell am I doing? I could just buy Pokemon cards and sell them. Jesus.
ETBs and ultra premium collections, all sorts of Pokemon products.
Yeah. It seems like a big trend in your business has been trying things and then doubling down on what works.
Yes.
I'm excited to get more into like kind of the tactical side. Let's finish up this tour and then I'll start pelting you with the business questions.
I can't wait. This is the PS1 and PS2 section. We put all the heaters in the cases.
Yeah, I'm loving it.
This is my proudest
The heaters, meaning the ones that sell a lot in the cases.
achievement that we have. And the worst part is it was like twice as filled before Christmas.
Wow.
Or maybe the best part, for me at least. The best
No
part.
kidding. Yeah, best part for the bank account.
This is my GameCube collection, and this isn't even all of it.
I almost never, like, this is just...
So I have a question. Should I make a channel? I don't know. Is this a thing? I'm sure it is. Where someone just opens up Pokemon cards on stream and then sells them to people? Like that right there is mind-boggling to me. Be like opening up Pokemon cards on channel and then selling to people that want to buy it in the audience. That would be you don't do anything. Oh, it's a thing? Like you don't do anything. All I'm doing is I buy a box of Pokemon cards, set them in front of me, and then I open them up and go, who wants this? I know nothing about it. You know what I mean? I'll be like, who wants this? I'm going to be like, I'll give you $10 for it. I'll be like, okay. I mean, shipping, I guess, would be a bitch to do, but you have to, and then you have to put it in a case or something to protect it, right? Very, very interesting. Very interesting. I'm going to rewind for a second.
This is my GameCube collection, and this isn't even all of it.
I almost never, like, this is just so unprecedented for game stores. I just have to commend you because, like, a lot of, like, the game exchanges I'll go into will have, like, loose sports games and, like, maybe 1 or 2 decent titles.
Yeah.
And you've got, looks like 100.
It's pretty excessive. This is about the only word I could use to describe it. And this isn't even all of it.
Wow.
We have all the games that are 30 and under on our shelves. So there's about another 100
like
of those.
out, so
Exactly.
everything on the floor kind of out and about, this is all 30 and under?
30 and under, yeah.
Okay.
So we...
No one's buying the Spy Hunter. Scooby-Doo, that's a waste. Rogue Leader, maybe. See, my problem with games like this, maybe you guys are like the same as me, right? I walk into a shop like this, and I'll walk in, and I'll glance at it and be like, oh, and like you have like this nostalgic memory, like you're going down the rabbit hole, you're like, oh man, I remember playing that game, and you pick it up, you look at it, you're like, right? Obviously, if you have a console still, you could play it if you still had one. And maybe you never owned the game as a kid, right? But I don't know, man. It seems like a lot of this sales are like just nostalgia, and then like the nostalgia wears off as soon as you walk out of that door. For me personally,
put an emphasis on quality, as well as making sure that we're putting out games that people are going to want instead of putting out games.
It's like buying physical backlog. You know?
Like sport games.
Yeah, it seems like this is the kind of store that, even though it's smaller, would be really fun to come like hunting.
Oh, no, I get it, Argus. I get it. But I know a lot of people that just collect the stuff and they never play it, but they never sell it either. You know what I mean? I know there's people out there. Like, I have all the stuff that I've ever bought. I never sell my stuff. Right? I have games from when I was a kid. We have all the stuff. And then there's collectors that buy the stuff and sell it, but then there's also people that buy it but then never play it, and there's also they never do anything with it.
Because they're you're utilizing the space so well and you've got so much stock.
Yeah, that's our big philosophy here, is that if we can make an experience for people where they can come in and find games that they're going to love, then we're really doing.
Did you see it? He had the Transformers one at the
bottom. If we can make
there.
an experience for people
There it is right there. See it? Fall of Cybertron. That shit shouldn't be there. He get $200 for that thing. Get $200 for this right here. See, my eye went right to it. My eye went right to it. I was like, there it is. Like I bought Transformers because I wanted to play it. But would I pay $200 for it? I don't know. Baba says, if I could get a GameCube with HDMI, I get Rogue Leader. I won a bunch of GameCube games. So that's legally emulate them. Yeah. A lot of people just emulate them now.
Where they can come in and find games that they're going to love, then we're really doing the right thing by our customers.
Oh, what was that? Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of games
experience for people where they can come in and find games that they're going to love, then we're really...
Fucking love Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Streets of Rage. There's Armor Core 9 Breaker. Jackie Chan Stuntmaster. I had that Zelda GameCube game. Man, see, looking at that, that brings back so many memories. So many memories.
Philosophy here is that if we can make an experience for people where they can come in and find games that they're going to love, then we're really doing the right thing by our customers.
So, Mark, talk to me about, now that you've owned a game store for, you said, a year and a half or so, this is a career that a lot of people really romanticize.
Yes.
What's the reality of owning a game store, and how does that not
don't do it
match up with maybe what your expectations were or what other people's expectations were?
It's not as fun as people act like it is. You watch a lot of channels where people are like, this is my dream job, this is what I've always wanted. This
that Wolverine, Batman Returns, Hogan's Alley, get the original Metroid and Gauntlet. $45 for Gauntlet 2. $100 for that Wolverine game. $100.
This is the coolest thing you could possibly do. You're on video.
Punch Out $245 in the box. There's Contra, Contra C, Super Contra.
Games 24/7. If you're taking it seriously, it is not the most fun job. It's very rewarding. It's very interesting. It's always changing. But I think a common misconception is this is like a secret clubhouse, you know? All your friends can come hang out at it. Everybody plays video games 24/7. We're always having fun and smiling and laughing in here. It's not the truth. The truth is that if you're going to be successful at a business, you have to take it very, very seriously.
Of course you do.
And I know a lot of people that just don't.
Yeah, when you make a business, man, that's a child. That's a child. You just don't make a business and be like, right? Like I do this part-time. But I do it, I do about an hour ahead of time. Get it ready, set up, what I'm going to talk about. Don't look at the stuff, but I get the articles that I'm going to do, right? So I'm about an hour ahead. I do 2 hours, if not 3 hours. That's 4 hours a day, okay? And then I'm also doing editing and stuff on the side. So on the surface, people are like, oh, you only do it a couple hours a day. I'm doing like 6 to 8 hours a day, just like a regular full-time job. Looking up information, reading, playing games, getting... Right? When I play games, I'm getting the information. I'm doing research into all the stuff. Like in my 4 days, right? My 4 days that I work, I'm putting almost 40 hours in those 4 days between reading and setting stuff up and doing the thing, doing it live, gameplay, and then also on the weekends I'm doing stuff. Okay? And I don't even own a physical business. This is just me. I'm the business, right? Just me. Right? I have no catalog of goods, inventory to do. If you own a business, this is why I want to own a miniature golf place. because the only inventory you have are the clubs and the balls, right? You put the money up front to make the actual golf course, and then it just pays itself off because all you're doing is clubs and balls, okay? Sell snacks and whatnot. This guy, that inventory, constantly have it there, and if you don't sell it, it just sits there and sits there and sits there, right? And you look at it and come back in. If you're a customer, you could go there for a year, and that same thing will be sitting on that shelf because no one wants to buy it. That's what's nerve-wracking to me about having all this inventory. If you're an owner of a business, you're getting gray hair, yeah, or go bald. Right?
Oh. And their stores last for maybe a year or two. The lease is up, and they're gone. You have to treat it like the animal that it is, which is very, very delicate, but at the same time, one that requires a lot of attention. And if you don't do that, you're not going to be successful. It's just not as fun as people make it out to be.
Yeah. What is something that you would say you do better in this store than most people do in the field?
Customer
service. I was just going to say, he probably does really good customer service.
By a wide margin.
Okay.
And that's not me being egotistical. I come from a hospitality background. I worked in restaurants for over 20 years. This is my server voice, yeah. So if you guys ever need anything, let me know.
And that was actually partly what your Twitter was about, you said.
Yes.
Is your serving background. So
Yes.
how does that translate into your game store?
So I think that customer service is what is severely lacking in this business. I don't think that people take it seriously enough. I think that if you're going to have people come into your store, one of the things that we do in the restaurant business, and I was a trainer, I used to open up restaurants, one of the things that we do is we don't take orders, we create memories. And I think that that's something that is severely lacking in this business and that I try to do different than other things. I'm friendly with the customers, I talk to them, I recommend.
And I think that's again, Salty, I agree, right? But I do think there's like people that like to collect, but I think majority of the people think they want it, and then when they get it, they don't want it. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, I have stuff back here, like I have like the Ninja Turtle like statues and stuff that I collect. I try not to buy too much shit that I don't want, and then if I don't want it anymore, right? Minus games, but like I'll try to sell it off to somebody or give it to somebody.
Games to them if they're.
Yeah, no, Akuda Papa, it costs way more than that. 5,000 to 50,000. That's a shit course. Believe me, I've done my research. A good 18-hole golf course, one golf course with the proper drainage and the setup and the way the turf and stuff runs and the design. You could start it off around 75,000, and then it goes up to 250,000, up to $1 million, all depending on what you use.
Looking at the systems that I'm familiar with, I try to create a nostalgic bubble for them to live in for the next 20 minutes while they're in my
I don't have that server voice. What's good? I hated being a server.
store.
Like, I got the soup. Yeah, what do you want? Yeah, here's your goddamn soup. Give me a $2 tip.
So they can really get that throwback of like a Blockbuster or the game store that they.
Yeah, millions. You ever see those places that have like the big mountains and stuff? Yeah, there's a lot of cost that goes into certain ones. There's a company I talked to. Believe me, I've done my research. We were on the cusp of moving through to making a golf course, but then it fell through because of the finances. But yeah, believe me, I've done my research for the golf courses.
They used to visit like an EB, in the early 2000s. I want them to have this experience that they're A, going to remember, but B, tell their friends about.
You said something really interesting when we were speaking before this, that you don't sell games, you sell nostalgia.
Yes.
So
although within the first 3 years of that golf course being open, all depending on what the location is, you can make your money back in 1 year. You can make your money back in 1 year, and everything else is profit for the remainder. You just have to maintain. You just got to maintain.
what's the difference?
Games you play, nostalgia you live, you remember.
Oh, hold on. He said something cool there.
You said something really interesting when we were speaking before this, that you don't sell games, you sell nostalgia.
Yes.
So what's the difference?
Games you play, nostalgia you live, you remember.
See? That's what I'm talking about, right? Games you play, nostalgia you live, you remember. Okay? That's what I'm saying. A lot of people look at the nostalgia. He's selling a piece of your childhood. That's what gets you to buy the actual thing. Okay? He gets you to buy that thing, and that's good. right? He's hitting that key in your brain. You're like, oh man, I remember playing that game. I remember that Game Boy. I remember the 3DS. I remember all this stuff. That's why you're buying this stuff. Not because you're a gamer. Because you're a gamer because you like those games, but you're not going to go play those games. You collect it to collect it because of the nostalgia.
You're 10 years old again, sitting on your bed. It's summer outside. It's beautiful. School's out. You don't have responsibility. You don't have bills. Mom's making dinner. Everything is peaceful. And when you play those old games, when you play your Super Mario Worlds or your Super Punch-Outs or your Sunset Riders, you're living.
Police Quest. Now see, there it is. The nostalgia of that. I would love a Police Quest game.
What you used to feel.
At this point, you have...
We had that. That
Super
was our...
Punch-Outs or your Sunset Riders. You're living what you used to feel.
At this point, you have bought and sold on Twitter,
Yes.
at flea markets, and now in a game store.
Yes.
Talk to me about like that transition and what the differences are. Like if there are people watching at home and are asking, what model should I get into? What would you say?
Social media, I wouldn't recommend getting into. It's very niche. You have to have a big following to do it. And you have to have a certain personality temperament to deal with it. You have
Yeah, Twitter is just such a garbage dump of whatever. Like, there's people that will follow you that have no interest in what you're doing. They just want to shit on your day.
to deal with a lot of negativity. You have to deal with a lot.
You're actually such a bum. You think you're worth $5,000 because one eBay post? This is total bullshit. And these are the idiots that make it hard to us to buy this stuff now. Do you see? This is exactly it.
A lot of people kind of making fun.
Yeah, let me show you guys how to buy something at a reasonable value and sell it online 15 times the price. I promise I don't suck as much as I'd seem to. That's called a business. It's called capitalism, you asshole. If you want to buy that stuff, then go out and find it yourself. Otherwise, there's a fee. I find it. I put it in my store. I got to pay my bills. I have to feed my children. Like, what are we talking about?
Of what you're doing. It's like,
why would anyone put that much effort in such a small profit? Not even worth it at that point. These are the same people that throw their change on the ground because they don't care.
like a Reddit that never stops. It's a 20.
I would love... I would have loved all of that just in my own collection. I just don't understand these people who use nostalgia as a cash cow. What are we talking about? These people are miserable people. These people are miserable people.
24-hour thread. So with social media,
Let me rewind now so you can hear what he was saying.
to deal with it, you have to deal with a lot of negativity. You have to deal with a lot of people kind of making fun of what you're doing. It's like a Reddit that never stops. It's a 24-hour thread. So with social media, it's its own monster. And I do emphasize the word monster. Selling at the flea market, a little bit different because a lot of those booths that you go to at flea markets, they're selling at over eBay prices. They're selling at overpriced charting prices, which is where they get a lot of their prices from. Mm-hmm. They are not creating the flea market experience.
Yeah, see, they're trying to put less work in. But look, the market will bear what it bears. So if you're at a flea market and someone puts a PlayStation, let's say for $200, right? And the guy down the booth, a couple things down, is selling it for like a $190. Meanwhile, someone that's like really doesn't care about making $50 off that product, they'll only make $30 or they'll make $20. They're still making a profit. Right? You're still making a profit. If you sell it, yours is selling, right? Yours is selling for a $20 profit, where theirs is not selling for a $50 profit.
People want to go in there and find a deal. They want you to wheel and deal with them. They want to find that you have a $25 game for $20 and see if you'll sell for 18.
Yeah.
Sure, why not? Let's do it. Let's make some money together.
Yeah.
Let's have a flea market experience. It sounds silly, but that's what you go to them for. You go there for the yard sale experience. So that was sort of the feeling that we tried to create when people went to flea markets.
Before we started rolling, you briefly talked about a little bit of flea market beef.
Jason says some of the games are totally overpriced, though. There's no reason for a PS2 version of MVC2 is worth so much, considering it's worth the version. Here's the thing, though. If you go to someone's garage sale or if you go to a flea market, not many people know this. You can actually negotiate prices even in regular stores with MSRP. Okay, that's what they suggested. The suggested retail price of the thing is for. Okay, but if a person wants your business, right? You can actually nickel and dime people, right? You can actually ask somebody in a regular store, but people don't do this, right? If you get a better deal. right? You could actually go, hey, that TV's $1,000. You could actually go up to them and go, can you give it to me at a better price? And so it'll be like, well, no, that's the price. Be like, yeah, but can you give it to me at a better price? I'll give you $900 and I'll also buy this. And they'll go, okay, right? Because they want to make the sale. They want to make the sale. At flea markets, everything's negotiable. Everything's negotiable. Okay?
That you had before coming here. Is that something you can talk about?
Sure. The other flea market stores hated me. I priced things not to undercut them, but just because I thought that's what the prices were for games.
Yeah.
And also to make a sale. Imagine that.
I didn't go to their stores and say, oh, they're selling Super Mario World for 30. I should sell it for 27. Ha ha ha, I'm so evil. I just went and looked and saw what they were going for, and I took a few bucks off because I figured that would give the person coming to your booth something fun to find.
Yeah.
It's not the typical eBay price game or over eBay price game. You're really getting a good...
Right, and certain games you're going to get more margin for than others. There's a game, let's say, buy 2 games, let's say $30, right? Buy 2 games for $30. One game might not sell at all. But if you buy that game with this game, you make $30. One game you make $5, the other one you make 10. People are greedy, right? And that's a lot of people why businesses fail, because of their greed.
Good deal when you shop at me at a flea market. They hated me for that. They talk trash. They kick the hornet's nest. They try to start fights. And this isn't hyperbole, folks. I'm talking about people that would literally come up to my booth and just make fun of what I was selling things for, because they viewed me as competition, but unfair competition, because I was giving people prices that were real and not made up or not $30 over the typical price of the game.
So how did that ever get resolved?
No, I moved away. I started a store.
Yeah, he's like, fuck it. I don't need the flea market assholes, right? Salty says, here's a good price. Unity Turtles Out of the Shadows, $875. See, now someone will leave that up there and might find someone to buy it, right? Or he could sell it for like $100, still make his money off of it, unless he bought it for a ridiculous price and he's got to make his money back.
I always had that end game in the back of my head that
as a Funko collector, buying multiple is how you can get the deal for flea markets, right? And that's a deal for them as well, because one of them might sell less than the other, and they can make the margins off of both when they sell them together.
I'm not going to be here forever, but you might. So you need to have these interactions with me because they make you feel better. But me, I don't need to worry about them, because in a few months, I'm going to be in my own place.
Wow.
So
That's powerful.
That was how...
You know what the funny part is? Most people that are selling games and the people that come and buy the games are people that are also selling the games, right? That's the world we live in. If you can find a cheaper price, let's say in this example, let's say there's 2 examples here. There's a five person like weighted to Kevin Bacon, right? So A has the game, looking to sell the game, sells those games for $10 a piece. B buys those games for the $10 and then returns around and then sells them for $10 extra. So now they've made their $10 back, okay, and they've made $10. Then C buys them for $20, right? Bought them for $20 and then sells those for $30 now. You see how it works? And as long as you have the buddy, but then there's always the example B. Example B is A is selling for $10. B comes in, okay, buys those games for $10 and then marks them up to $80 and then tries to sell them, but they don't sell at all. Okay. Meanwhile, the other example, it's sold 5 times over to get to that point of 80. Okay. And that's the difference, right? People are greedy and they want to try to get as much money as possible for the least amount of effort. Where this person's making more money because he's giving the games at a reasonable price, and that's why people buy it. It becomes almost a spontaneous buy at that point.
How you get over, you rise, John Cena, you rise above hate. And I think that that's really, really important when you're in that position where people genuinely don't like you for reasons they don't even understand.
One of the most powerful axioms I've learned that's helped me, especially on my social media journey, as you were mentioning earlier, that can be kind of toxic, is nobody hates you who's ahead of you. I can't think of a single time that someone I look up to in business who's doing things that I want to do has discouraged me along my path of trying to get.
Well, right. Why would they? Why would they? They're ahead of you. They don't feel threatened by you. It's the people that are in the same area that are jealous of you. That happens all the time on YouTube, right? Right? They don't feel threatened by you because they're above you. But the people that are around you hate you and they talk shit because they feel threatened.
Get better. They're almost always in your corner. The people who hate are the ones who are envious, right, and insecure.
Yeah, it's funny enough. It's like that saying, like, they hate us because they ain't us. You get a lot of people that say, like, oh, you're making the hobby too difficult to get into. Oh, you're taking all the deals. Oh, you're taking all the games. When the truth
He's working. What do you mean? Bust your ass, make the cash. Okay? Bust your ass and make the cash. Okay? There's also work smarter, not harder. Okay? But at the same time, this guy's working. He's making deals. He's not stealing your sales. He's working harder than you.
is, people like us, we're not going to yard sales. We're not going to community sales. We're not going to flea markets. We're leaving those for you. Go have fun. Go to a garage sale. Find your $5 Earthbound. Be as happy as a clam. I don't care. I cheer for these people.
Yeah.
When they have successes and they post on Facebook, look, I had a guy last night. I found a copy of Alien Resurrection on the PS1 for $33. Boom.
Right.
Hold on one second. Let me see that.
Facebook, look, I had a guy last night. I found a copy of Alien Resurrection on the
Complete price $190. New price $495. Hey, if you could find those deals, fantastic. I found you can find good deals if you look. If you look, you could find the deals. But that's the point. People don't want to look. They want convenience. They just want it as fast as possible.
the PS1 for $33. Boom.
Right.
Go get them, Tiger.
All right, so folks, an absolutely mouth-watering handheld selection here at Dynamo Collectibles. Before we get to this, because I think I am going to have the chance to get to buy
I'm assuming that he buys handhelds and then flips them.
a few of these. I wanted to ask you, like, there are a million reasons, like we talked about before, not to open a video game store.
Yep.
So, are you crazy?
Oh, I'm
like,
nuts.
why did you decide to do this?
Oh, I'm bananas. A lot of it is just passion. I wanted to continue doing customer service because it sounds silly, but like I genuinely feel like everybody's here for like kind of like a reason, and I feel like that's kind of like my reason.
Wow.
Is I just really, really enjoy it. I like helping people and having fun with people.
Yeah.
So yes, I am crazy. It is a very, very difficult business to A, get acclimated to, but B, be successful.
I'll be honest. I would be a really good store owner. I would socialize with every single person that came into my store. Every single one.
Successful at.
Yeah.
So it is not for the faint of heart. So yes, crazy would be a great way to describe
I would have to put a bar inside there because I would just talk the whole time. They would have to sit down and buy some coffee.
So, for people watching, if they're thinking, maybe I want to get into a game store, first of all,
Not many people know this, but back when I was in college, there was an internet cafe, and I actually wanted to open up a gaming store, but I didn't want the gaming store to sell games as its main thing. I wanted to sell games like time, because there was colleges around. A lot of people couldn't buy or own a lot of the stuff, so I wanted a place where people could come and hang out, buy drinks, and just play video games. Like an arcade, but a new kind of arcade, which you had the old Xboxes, like we're talking Xbox, original Xbox and PlayStation 2s and stuff like that. But, then they popped up about 5 years after that, internet cafes all over the place.
do they know whether it's right for them, and what are the biggest concerns? What are the biggest things to watch out for? The biggest pitfalls that people might experience?
Probably the biggest pitfall that people might experience is not starting with enough money. It is very expensive.
140 for that Game Boy Advance, huh? 200? Is it the 3D? What is that one? I don't know what that Nintendo one is. Is that the 3DS? No, the 3DS was the wider one, isn't it?
To start this business.
Which one is that?
Starting with enough money.
The smaller pocket one with the Pokemon face. Which one is that? That's amazing. $225 for that thing. You could buy that or an Xbox Series S. Crazy. Lurker says I couldn't do it. I hate everyone.
Is very expensive to start this business. And I'll be just transparent with you guys. I started with about $25,000, and it was a horrible mistake.
Wow. Is it the Game Boy Advance? 25,000. That's really low, especially when you have to invest all the money and to start the store. Just to get your inventory, that would be really low compared to. No wonder his shop looked like nothing. Secondhand stuff. You have to buy all secondhand stuff. You're not buying cabinets and stuff brand new. That's for sure.
Wow.
I thought, easiest day of my life. I could buy this, I could buy this, I could buy this. I'll have money left over for inventory. You don't. To get everything set up, to get A-tracks, showcases, slat wall, everything, you're talking thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So a big pitfall that I see, and I fell into, is that if you're not going into this with a good bit of money, you're going to fail right off.
Good bit of money, meaning like 75 to 100K.
off of that.
Wow. So talk to me about some of the most expensive parts.
Because you want to have enough money. You want to have enough money to not only. You want to have enough money to at least pay your rent for the year in escrow. You know what I mean? Like away. So you're not struggling when you open those doors. If you don't sell the first month or whatnot, you're struggling and you have to close shop. You want to have enough. You want to have enough money in there for at least 1 year of operations in a place wherever your rent is. Then you want to have enough money on top of that to stock your shelves with stuff, right? Have enough inventory. And then once you sell that stuff, then you can invest more stuff into it.
Parts of the building.
The slat wall actually costs a ton per 8 feet. And you have to get about 16 feet, for me at least, per wall. So we had to get 3 walls worth of 16 feet of slat wall. Showcases can range anywhere from about $400 to $800. And I'm not embarrassed to say it, when we first opened, I was using Facebook Marketplace to buy showcases.
Oh, yeah.
So I had like a
With $25K, that's what you're going to do.
hodgepodge. I had like a mishmash of showcases because I didn't have the money to purchase all matching beautiful showcases.
That's such a wild.
Hence why when you go into a lot of comic book shops, mom and pop stores, they have those traditional, actually, sort of like what this thing is down here. You can't, here, maybe you can see a little bit if I, right? Like this little shelving unit here, you know, with the little boxes or whatever. Now you go to IKEA, you save a lot of money on the IKEA stuff.
Departure from the world that I'm used to, the biggest luxury that resellers have, online resellers.
I was thinking, why not more glass cabinets? They're expensive. They're super expensive.
Especially if you're sourcing at yard sales and thrift stores to start out, is like, there really aren't startup costs.
Right.
Like, what is there? Like shipping supplies and like maybe a label printer.
Oh, yeah. That whole service, the POS system that you have to buy, not the piece of shit, it's point of sale. The system that you have to buy, that's a thing you have to pay for, right? The shipping is very expensive.
If you want to get fancy, but you don't need it, you can buy. Like I started my resale business with $500.
Yep.
You started with $25K for this, and things were still tight.
Very tight.
Yeah, see, generic. Those are old school shelves.
And that is definitely a pitfall. All of the setup that you're doing, that's going to drain your bank account. TV monitors, computers, points of sale, it all adds up.
Talk to me about some of the other objections that people might have. Like, is retail dying? Are collectibles prices going down? Interest rates are up. The economy.
I think video games, collectible stuff there will always be a market. There'll always be a market for physical games nostalgia, always. Okay? But there'll be a point where there's going to be a lull because us, 45 and below, even 50 and below, okay, we have physical stuff that we still like nostalgia. But my son, right now, at the age of 9, all his games are digital, right? He won't have a spot 20 years from now when he goes to a store. It'll still be my stuff on those shelves for nostalgia. It won't be his stuff on the shelves because those won't exist because they're all digital.
Economy's unstable. Do those factor into your mind at all?
No. As silly as it sounds, this is almost a recession-proof business. When
is it though? I mean, I see what he's saying. I can see it almost as recession-proof because there's always going to be old guys like me or older that want to buy the stuff and collect the stuff and have that nostalgia. But that's changing pretty fast. Like I just gave an example. There's going to be a time frame where we're getting older and older, and the people that are becoming our age don't have anything they want to go back and get because there's nothing there.
the economy is down, people want escapism.
Yeah.
They want ways to not have to feel bad about themselves. They want to get lost in a video game for 12 to 14 hours.
That's where streaming services come in.
That is what they're paying for, whether they're charging it. And I know this sounds terrible, like I'm like egging people on to spend money when the economy's down. But the truth is that's what they do. It is.
That's why I want to open up a miniature golf course. Because that's recession proof. People want to get outside. They want to do stuff.
How it is. We had a hurricane decimate our area, and I opened with no power, and it was one of my busiest weeks ever. I did a 25% off sale on handhelds that were all charged. I sold out all of my handhelds because people just want that escapism. When the economy's up, people want entertainment.
So one of the biggest things that we really see eye to eye on is pricing strategy.
Yep.
This is a big differentiator between you and a lot of other businesses.
Okay. Nintendo NES original. Cash $60. Trade, they'll give you $75. So he'll give you additional $15 on trade. Okay. on a trade. So he's making, yeah, that's good. And he has top loader, 100, 130, 65 to 80. The Nintendo Switch, 140 to 175. Good buy prices. Better than GameStop.
This is out there. Talk to me about, one, what is this thing up on the monitor, and how does that relate to your overall business philosophy?
So this is a hot list of systems that we are not so much in need of, but that we want to have a really high stock of because they sell super duper well. So some things like AAA GameCube titles, Pokemon games, random systems, handhelds, all of that we want to have in store because it sells really, really well.
Yeah.
So one of our philosophies is with systems, especially the newer ones, beat GameStop. Make sure you are defeating them in their trade. Make sure you are defeating them in their buy
I just said better than GameStop's prices.
cost. Make sure you're defeating them for their pro. Because for $15 or whatever it is, $20, nowadays, you can become a pro member and you can get a pretty nice chunk more for trade-in or for buying. So our goal is to buy for more than they do.
Yeah.
That's step one. If they can come to you and sell like an OLED Switch for $140 or get 175 credit, well, GameStop is buying OLED Switches for $88.
Wow.
Now,
Wow. He's almost doubling. He's almost doubling the price. I would 100% go to him, right? 100% go to him. And not only if I'm selling stuff to him and he's giving me more money for my object that I'm selling, I would be more likely to go back to him, not only to sell stuff to him, but I would also buy stuff from him because I don't feel like he's screwing me over. You know what I mean? He's building up this goodwill with his customers and customer base because he's not trying to dick them over. Because nothing hurts you more than when you sell yours for $80 and then they sell it back up for $200.
we're buying it for $12 more. Might not sound like a lot, but it is, especially when you're getting that much more credit as well. That is philosophy number one.
Yeah.
Beat your competitors like GameStop. You don't want to, browbeat your opponents that are in the same business as you, but you want to beat the juggernaut. That's the big one.
Totally.
You also want to stock very, very popular games. Pokemon, as you know, is a blue chip stock. It goes infinitely fast. The prices are always the same, or they go up. They never ever really go down.
Yeah.
I saw a small decline in Pokemon games after the end of COVID, but that's it. So we want to make sure that we're stocking all sorts of things. Nintendo handhelds, for example, those super fast movers. They are just absolute beasts. You can't sell enough handheld. You can't stock enough handhelds.
So
That's crazy. You're telling me old school handheld are selling like hotcakes. That's crazy.
is the list of games that you want people to know when they come into the store. We pay really well for these,
Yes.
and you're willing to do that and take a tighter margin.
Exactly.
Just to have the stuff in store.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know anyone that's going to be buying a Sony PlayStation 2 for $65 or giving 80% trade credit on it.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that does that. We price them really aggressively as well. Our margins on them are a lot slimmer because we want to operate on that velocity and liquidity. We want to make sure that that $60 that we spend, that PlayStation 2 sells immediately. Now that $60 is freed up again, and there's profit margin that we can sink into other things.
See? I like the way he's talking.
So for someone who would say, wait a second, why would you sell a PS2 for 80 when you could just wait a little bit longer and probably sell it for 100?
I just think that the philosophy on it needs to be more consumer friendly. A lot of stores fail because selling games and owning games becomes like a personality to them. It becomes something that they are attached to. So they'll sell that copy of Earthbound for $500. We know it's like a $270 to $300 game, but they're going to sell it for a huge amount of money because they think it's cool. They think it's
Right. And you're going to sit on that $500 because you're attached to that instead of selling something where people want to buy it.
eye candy. They think it's fetching. People want to come in and see it. I don't have that same philosophy. I'm not attached to anything in the store. I love certain games in the store, but if my favorite game walked through the door, I would sell it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be like, well, Jade Cocoon 2, great game, you should buy it. Market tip. One of my favorite games of all time. I have posters of Jade Cocoon and Jade Cocoon 2 in this place. But if it walked through the door, I'd be the first person to be like,
Never played it. Never played Jade Cocoon 1 or 2.
oh, you like PlayStation RPGs? Boom. This is one of the GOATs. This is one of
Yeah.
the best, most fun ones. Because I want to share that experience with other people. I don't want to just hoard it.
One other thing that you do that is just weird that we talked about before is paying way up on certain individual games.
Yes.
Maybe even
He's in Fort Myers, Florida, Jones. So if you're in Florida, that's where he's at.
at or above slightly market rate. What the heck is up with that?
So one of the luxuries you do get is you do get that little bit of markup because you're a store and you're providing people with all sorts of really, really good items. So what I'll do is like a copy of Pokemon Emerald is going to walk through the door, dry battery. I would buy it for 160. I'm going to sell it for maybe 200 or 210 after
yeah.
replacing that battery.
Right.
But doing so means that that customer is going to tell their friends, hey, this guy buys games for a lot. If you're buying things at very
See what he's saying there? Hold on one second.
I would buy it for 160. I'm going to sell it for maybe 200 or 210 after replacing that battery.
Right.
But doing so means that that customer is going to tell their friends, hey, this guy buys games for a lot. If you're buying things at very, very...
Imagine that. Imagine someone that you buy something from them and they're like, dude, this guy's giving good prices, right? He's not trying to dick me over. He's giving me a better price than the big stores, right? Builds up a community, builds up that goodwill.
competitive prices. You're doing right by the customer. You're getting word of mouth. You're getting goodwill towards that customer for...
Imagine me, just a guy who sits in his house, knows nothing about business, by the way, nothing about business.
When they want to get rid of more stuff, and it's just cyclical. It's a circle of life. It's do things correctly, get those items, sell those items, do things correctly. It's a never-ending circle where you can keep making tons of money, but at the same time, you can give the customer a fair deal.
You mentioned Mario Kart Wii as a specific one that you just...
He's not trying to make all the money. He's trying to make a business where he gives good prices, sells them for good prices, and also gets the goodwill of the fans to come back or the customers to come back.
tend to pay crazy for.
Yeah, I will pay $25 on a copy of Mario Kart Wii. I have no qualms doing that.
Even though you're selling it for what, 30, 35?
30, 35. Usually 35. Because it's a very, very fast mover. So yeah, is it like a $29 to $32 game? Sure. But my margin doesn't need to be huge on it because once I sell it, I'll have 10 people come in and say like, oh, I've got Mario Kart Wiis.
Wow.
And all of a sudden, all those Mario Kart Wiis hit the shelves and they all sell. Well,
imagine that, right? He doesn't have to, okay? He doesn't have to sell it for huge margins. He wants to sell. He wants people to come in the store and say, oh, here's a good deal. You bought the... It's amazing. It's good for him. Good for him.
Well, and you could totally get away with paying 10, 15, 20 for Mario Kart Wii.
Easy.
Nobody would complain.
No.
That's what everyone does.
absolutely.
It reminds me a lot of a principle that they use in retail a lot called loss leaders, right? They'll put one product on an end cap, right, that people buy all the time, eggs, milk, diapers, toilet paper, and say, advertise in all the catalogs, all the commercials, we've got this for $5 and it's normally 15. And they'll actually lose money on that product because they know when people come in the store, they're not just going to get the toilet paper, they're going to get a cart full of other stuff, and the profit on those other items is going to more than make up for it.
Get them in the door.
Folks, this is what I'm on about. It's long term. It's not nickel and dime on every little deal. It's not make $5 here. Oh, I'm going to hold on to this until I sell it for $20 more. It's do right by people. Pay your partners, get people in the door, make them feel welcome, make them feel good, exactly like you're doing.
It's very, very important to make sure that the customer is...
Like, for instance, that Spider-Man that he had in his hands, now, I don't know how much he paid for it. Let's say he found it at a garage sale and paid $10 for it, but he's selling it for $145. Obviously, if someone comes in, I'll be like, I'll give it to you for $100, right? If I paid $9 or $10 for it, I made $90 off of that. I made $90 off of that, right? You don't have to be greedy, man.
Happy. I cannot emphasize this enough.
Yeah.
So to all your commenters and readers and watchers, that is where the industry is lacking, and don't ever stop pushing for you deserving better.
So Mark, another thing that we share in common is we're both optimizers. We love taking our business to the next level.
Definitely.
What are some ways that you plan on doing that with this business for the next year?
We're going to get more heavy into marketing.
Okay.
We're going to put more effort into getting ourselves out there, whether or not it be through Facebook Marketplace, through Google Analytics. We're going to try to become a more popular store in the area. We're focusing on trade nights too. We're doing video game trade nights and Pokemon card trade nights.
Oh, that's cool.
So we're inviting local resellers to come in here. You can buy from each other. You can sell to each other. You don't have to sell to me. I'm not going to get mad if you're like, oh, you're selling that game that I have in store. No, we want to build a community around it. I offer increased trade credit those nights. So those people that bring in those games that don't sell at the end of the night, they're just like,
wow,
here you go.
Which that's very countercultural on it.
Right, because those people that are not selling their games at his trade night in his store, they're like, well, these didn't sell. What are you going to give me for them? Right? Because they're looking to sell them.
Its own.
Yeah.
Inviting in your competition to your space to make money in the place that you're paying rent.
Definitely.
That's crazy.
I know you were in
do
here
that
earlier. I didn't say hi to you.
Because we want to cultivate a community. We want to build something around the store. And in those moments, those people come back and they scan everything in store because now they're trying to make money. But we're building those people. We're bringing them through the door. We're saying, hey, our prices are great. Our trade-in is great. Come in. Hang out with this guy. Buy games off of him. Sell games to him. I don't care. I think it's very important to build something around your store that's going to make people go, oh, I need to be there. I need to be there that Friday night because there's free pizza.
Yeah.
Like, I need to be there so I can see everything that...
And he gives free pizza. Well, hell, that's a win. He puts out the... Look, that right there, it goes a huge, long way, man. It's amazing what you could do with some pizza and some drinks. Okay, if it's soda for some beer, like you can get people to move you out of a house, people paint your house, pizza and beer. He gets people to come to his store for pizza and pizza and drinks, okay? All to sell their stuff in his store just so he can build that community up. Smart move.
That everyone is bringing. And we've had some pretty good success with it. We've had nights where like 20, 30 people showed up and they set up little tables and they just did like a little trade event. And it was really cool.
I love how reckless that business model seems on the surface. Does your store see an increase at all in sales in those days? Is it net negative, positive?
No, it's awesome. Like I'll do the trade night starting at like 5 o'clock. People will be showing up at 3 setting up and they'll wander around the store for 2 hours and they'll buy things and they'll look at my $5 wall and scan every game to see the $7 or $8 games. Buy 4, get 2 free. So, hey, we're making 15 bucks. They'll come in early and they'll just love it. And they'll trade in all their stuff that they want to get rid of early.
This sounds exhausting to me, though. I would never want to open a video game shop. You would have to know so much on same with the comic book shop, like a vintage comic book shop, like what it costs and what it is. You would have to know your shit. You're constantly changing the prices.
And parlay that into stuff that they think they could sell at night. Yeah. And it's great for me because I'm getting in a ton of inventory. Some of it not good, some of it really good. But reckless was how we were looked at first, and then it was more mad scientist afterwards. Yeah. Like you're doing something that nobody else is doing, but it's working.
That's so cool, man. I love to hear about stuff like that.
I purchased this store for 400 more square feet for a reason, because I wanted to be filled with as much awesome stuff as possible.
Totally.
So I think those are the 3 big goals: are marketing, creating a bigger and better community, and really stocking the shelves.
Love the game plan, man. That's inspiring.
Gotta have one.
Mark, we've talked a lot about tactics, individual strategies, but let's get real for a second.
Coming soon to Game Pass?
Talk to me about what is
they deliver that? Does it come through the internet?
Necessary. What do you have to sacrifice to own a business like this? Because it looks great, when you're in the store and it's well stocked and people are coming in and customers are happy, but what's required?
Time. So much time.
Yeah.
I work 70-hour work weeks.
But that's for any business. Successful businesses, hell, a non-successful business, you're sleeping there.
I never stop. I'm 7 days a week. Yep. I sometimes get a day off. I was telling you earlier, I've had Christmas off, and that's my only day off in almost 2 months. I had Thanksgiving off. I get major holidays off. That's really about it. I have some people that come in and they'll work a day for me sometimes, but that is very few and far between.
So you don't really have...
He also is probably making that $75,000 profit because he doesn't have any employees. I'm assuming. He's probably working this shop by himself the entire time.
A ton of employees. It's like, it's you in here.
And that's where...
There you go. It's just him.
Where a lot of stores don't understand the sacrifices you make. I have a 1-year-old and a 6-year-old. I don't think I'm going to see my daughter walk for the first time. Genuinely. I don't believe I will. I'll see it on camera, but I won't see it in person.
Wow.
Because you have to be here so much. You have early days and you have late nights. If somebody calls you on your day off and says, I have to sell this collection today, I need money, I don't care if I'm off. I'll be right at the store.
Wow.
It never stops. Days off for me are maybe sleeping until 11. And then I go right to work on the computer. I start getting into Facebook groups. I start doing marketing for the store. There is no stopping. It is nonstop. I've missed plays for my 6-year-old. Date nights for me and my wife are few and far between. And it might sound like I'm negligent, but I'm not. I'm trying to provide and secure a future for my family.
Work your ass
off, man. And that is very
man.
important to me. The end game is retire by 50.
Wow.
And that is very important to me, that I can spend that time with my family after that. But right now, and just being honest with you guys, it hurts.
If you don't mind me asking, how is your family responding?
My wife is very supportive. We've been together since we were 14, so about 23 years now. She was my middle school sweetheart.
Oh, I was like,
oh my God.
So we're very, very lucky to be as in love as we are, and to have her be as understanding as she is. My kids, my 1-year-old, she doesn't really know. When she sees daddy, she claps. She's excited. My 6-year-old, you can tell, is a little bit more affected by it. He, when I get home and he goes to bed, daddy, will you sleep with me? He wants that little bit of extra time with me. But my...
You know what, man? Kids, they change everything. That's exactly why I didn't continue working in the business, because I didn't want to miss my kid, right? I don't travel anymore. I stay home. I do this, and I'm blessed for what I get to be a part of my child's life.
My wife is very supportive, so I'm very blessed in that regard. But there are nights, like when it was her birthday, I had to work on her birthday. I had a convention on her birthday.
They were both 14 though, Titan. They were both in middle school at the exact same time.
So when I got home, I was exhausted. We didn't even really get to hang out. I had to go to bed. I got her a card, told her I loved her, and we're planning a date night really, really soon for that. But if you're not sacrificing, you're not doing it all the way, and it has to be done all the way.
That's real. Thank you for sharing that, man. I think that's a place that a lot of people aren't necessarily willing to go. And I have found with the business owners I've talked to,
I think when he tells that story, about his wife that they should just skip the part that it was in middle school and just say they were high school sweethearts. Move it up. Move it up from middle school to high school. You'll be safe.
Supportive spouses are a huge common denominator. So
They are
guys like
paramount.
you and I, we're really lucky. Anything else, like outside of the family, the time, does anything else come to mind for you when you think about sacrifices?
Money. You have to put the business first.
Yeah.
When I first opened, I didn't pay myself for the first 4 months. I had no money.
Wow.
We were living off my wife's paychecks because you have to buy, you have to pay all your bills on time.
Imagine that. Hence why I said earlier, when you start a business, you have to have enough money there to make sure you can cover your rent and stuff. Otherwise, when you open that store, you're gonna be like, well, if we don't sell this many things this month, we can't survive.
You have to pay your taxes. Everything amounts
Fucking taxes.
to a ton of money. So for those first 4 months, I had nothing. It was peanut butter jelly and ramen, because to start with that type of bankroll, but to know that it's all going to be gone before you even get a chance to spend it, it's really, really tough. You have to be very, very mentally strong to know that your money situation is going to suck for a while. It's not going to be good. And you started with $500. You probably spent 400 of those dollars and then sat there one day on your couch and went, I only have $100 left. What's
the lowest that you guys had in your bank account? I bet you I can beat you. I've had 0 in my bank account. 0. Because remember that story I was telling you about getting paychecks and waiting for things to happen, right? I've had my bank account in negative, okay? Where I owed stuff and I was waiting for that check to clear.
Like, what am I going to do?
74 was the lowest my bank account ever got. I was
Exactly.
like, all right, it's a Saturday. I have $74 to spend at this yard sale, and then
All right, Jones, like, overdraft, I win. Yeah. Yeah. Like, seriously, I would have to wait 60 days to get paid sometimes.
I just have to sell something.
Yeah.
Or else I can't go next weekend.
Exactly. And that's where I got, where I was so low in my bank account, I cried, man. Like, I genuinely just sat on my bed and I cried because I didn't know where the next meal was going to come from. I didn't know where the next tank of gas was going to come from. And when the money started finally rolling in, we started doing really big sales. We started really hitting. It was the biggest relief.
If you're starting a business and you think you need 25 grand, make it 75 grand, right? If you think you need 100 grand, then you make it 250 grand.
You could possibly imagine. So in terms of sacrifice, be ready to be afraid all the time when you first start.
Dude, one thing that I think about a lot is like our business has been doing really well recently with our like buy list program, and Amazon's going good. It's Q4 as we're filming this.
Yeah.
The weird thing is like the better the business does,
This guy works out of his house. I gotta watch his videos. I gotta watch his videos.
anxiousness about
Your
it,
anxiety.
my fear, it doesn't go down.
No,
It's
it goes
like
up.
You're more aware that like on this roller coaster ride of business, it's going to go down, and the higher you are, the more that's going to hurt.
Success must be maintained in order to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Like to not feel like everything is going to collapse all at once. So you have to make sure that everything that you're doing is to sustain the business and then grow the business. Worry about sustaining, then worry about growing. Then worry about sustaining,
right.
then worry about growing.
Wow. Yeah, I often wonder like, when am I not going to be scared anymore?
Never.
I'm 5 years in so far. It hasn't happened, but
Never.
I hope one day it does for you. We'll see.
It probably won't. And I think that keeps us on our toes, to be
Wait a minute, what did he ask him?
I often wonder like, when am I not going to be scared anymore?
Never.
I'm 5 years in so far. It hasn't happened, but
Never.
I hope one day it does for you. We'll see.
It probably won't. And I think that keeps us on our toes, to be honest. I think that's what's
I think when you're, and again, I'll put this in like perspective of like a YouTube channel. Okay. Like if I make a video that gets like 15,000 views and then you expect all your videos to hit 15,000 views, it's unrealistic, right? It's a good goal to have, but you want to capture what that is, but to constantly do that. And it's always like, so for instance, what he was talking about earlier, that in his flea market days, he would make like a $5,000 sale day. And then I'm sure he made like a 7,000 or a 10,000. That becomes the new norm. That's not the new norm. That's the outlier. And then you have to try to maintain what you have. And when you have a $10,000 days, but then you have those days you only make 1,000, that covers those days. You know what I mean? Like you can't put the cart before the horse. Just because you make money someday, you can't spend that money. You have to keep that money and put it away like you didn't make that money. It was a good Saturday. It was a good Sunday. It was a good Wednesday. And you got to put that away and make sure that it happens again and again and again.
Separates us from, weekend resellers is that fear is always.
Like, for instance, I had a fantastic January, which is the lowest numbers on for revenue purposes on YouTube. I had my best month ever last month in January, right? Which is the slowest month of the year. So thank you for the people that watched the videos and came to the things and gave me memberships and all that stuff, right? So now that's a fluke though, right? So next January, if I was a big corporation, year over year, I would look at January and go, oh, well, last year we made so much more money, right? Than this January. You can't look at it like that, right? You can't look at it that way.
Always going to be there. That fear of failure, sometimes that fear of success, that once you get to a certain level, people's expectations of you continue to rise. And when you don't meet those expectations, they start to turn on you. So it comes down to an immense amount of fear, an immense amount of.
I want to rewind that for a second. Listen to him again.
You continue to rise. And when you don't meet those expectations, they start to turn on you.
Right.
So it comes down to an immense amount of fear, an immense amount of desire, and an immense amount of just being willing to sacrifice in order to be successful.
Wow. That's that real stuff, man. I appreciate you going there. Looks like we missed your first customer of the day. I'm sorry
I think he came in because he thought we were a karate studio still.
We need to get a shot.
You still got the Karate Studio sign up there. That's
that
funny.
sign. I love it.
Why don't you change that? What are we doing?
That. Cool. Well, I want to buy some of these things from you. I have a few last tactical questions for you so we can lighten it up a little bit.
Sounds good.
All right, folks, we've got our handheld stack here. I'm going to start going through these and just kind of inspecting and testing as I'm talking about this next one. Resellers. If you're watching, this is another point to get your notebook and pen out, because when I ask you advice that you have for other business owners, one of the things you said was source bravely.
Yep.
Source bravely. Can you explain that? What does that mean?
Sourcing bravely means doing things other than going to garage sales, estate sales, flea markets. It means, like you said before, opportunity is everywhere. I found my niche on Twitter. I mean, it's somewhere that nobody else was exploring. And that's not to say that there aren't other spaces out there that people could look. Buying off other resellers is just an absolutely fantastic resource. It's a way to get out there and make contacts, make friends, make people in the industry or your local community want to work with you.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to contact these people or to reach out to these people. If you see somebody posting on Facebook, hey, I'm buying video games, reach out to them and say like, hey, I'm also buying video games.
Yeah.
Let's network a little bit. Like, let's work together. Is there anything that you are looking for specifically? Hey, I'm looking for Nintendo handhelds, but you're looking for Super Nintendo. If I find Super Nintendo, let me send to you. You send me the handhelds. Like, let's start working together.
Totally. Especially if you're the kind of person who is feeling disheartened with how much competition there is, and I can never find stuff at thrifts or...
There's always competition. I love how people always think about this, like, no matter what business, you open up an ice cream shop, all of a sudden you start noticing a lot of ice cream shops, right? You open up a movie theater, there's a lot more other movie theaters, right? You open up a restaurant, there's 1,000 other restaurants, right? I mean, very competitive. No matter what you do in life, it's very competitive.
By the time I go to yard sales, people are already walking out with boxes of stuff. Maybe try to not scorn those people and instead go shake their hand.
This is how things start to spiral, not in a bad way, but they snowball into a really big thing that people can start stores based off of. You might meet a partner when you're doing this. Let's go out there and let's make these connections. Let's be friends with our fellow resellers. Let's not view them as competition. Let's go out of our way to, like you said, buy them lunch. Work with them on what you need and what they need. And you might make a best friend that you can start a business with.
I have to just jump in and reiterate how right on this exact words they just said here in this conversation, because I myself was always at swap meets. I still am with my friends, and I would see certain competition. There was certain competition within the group that I'd start talking to them and see the same people out there, and I started to become friends with them. And just like they said, one of those people ended up being Chris, who is now on our podcast, and also now, yes, an actual partner in owning the SoCal Gaming Expo. So yeah, any of this stuff can be completely put into your work practice. These guys are right on.
Right.
So it's definitely, sourcing bravely just means going out of your comfort zone. You're not alone. You don't need to be a lone wolf.
I love that. Tell me this, for people who are watching and are thinking about maybe dipping their toes into this business on the retail side, is this a business that you honestly recommend in 2024?
Nope.
Like, nope.
Like I was saying, you have to dedicate massive amounts of time to it. And you need the wherewithal to have that dedication.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, like, I know video games, but I would not want to open up a shop. No way. No way I would want to open a shop.
Not a lot of people are built for this. Not a lot of people are very friendly or personable. They might be incredible on the analytical side of things. They might be great at sourcing. They might be great at buying. They might be great at selling on eBay or Amazon. But at the end of the day, they might not be very good when it comes to that customer service.
So talk to me
I'm great at customer service.
about, like, with video games in general, maybe not necessarily on the store side. A lot of people would say, hey, physical media is
I'm personable. What? Get out of here.
dying. Like, don't get into this business. It's not worth it. You're going to be out of business in 10 years. Would you agree with that?
No. Physical media is going to be around a lot longer, especially with certain companies saying that they're going strictly to digital. People want to hold games. They want to put cartridges in. They want to put discs in. They want to make sure that they're reliving that experience that they had when they were younger. So if they're not going in there and enjoying the game,
Robert Jones says, the only people I have recommend their businesses are the MLM, right? Multi-level scheming things.
if they're not displaying it, or they're not putting it on a shelf, or they're not putting it on a rack, they're going to be a little bit more disappointed. It's more like playing a movie than playing a game at that point.
Yeah.
So I think that the death of physical media is heavily, heavily, heavily overstated. I think that you're going to see more physical media get sold.
I don't think it's overrated or overhyped. There is going to be a moment, right? Because right now there's less games being created. There's less movies being created. There's less music being created. Sure, there's still vinyl. There's still CDs. There's still DVDs, but they're less and less. So unless they start making more physical media again, which doesn't look like it's going that route, video games are going to have less and less. And like my example earlier, when our children are now our ages, the only nostalgia things they're going to look at is the same stuff that we're looking at, which is the last time physical media actually existed, right? There's going to be less and less, which then will drive up the price. So, for instance, let's say Helldivers 2 physical copy. You find that out 20 years from now inside of a store, there's going to be less of them, meaning there'll be a higher value ticket price for that because there's less of them. So it'll definitely be more of a collector's niche, and they'll still be around, but there's going to be a lot less physical media for people to make money off of.
As soon as those companies go to digital only, you're going to see a outburst, a huge upswelling of physical media.
Right. Soon as the stuff sells out and there's no physical media left, then all the physical media that's there, people will buy.
Wow. Do you think there will be long-term implications, like the kids who are growing up today with primarily digital and downloads and getting games on Amazon? Like, will we eventually see a decline?
I think that those kids are a lot more savvy than we give them credit for. I believe that they want those old games. I have a lot of 16, 17, 12-year-olds coming in here.
That's a hell of a dice roll, right? That's a hell of a dice roll, thinking that my son at the age of 9 is going to have the same interests as me when he's 40. That, oh, well, my dad showed me Bases Loaded. I love Bases Loaded because my dad loved Bases Loaded. I don't know, man. That's a hell of a dice roll.
I want Super Nintendo games. I want 64 games. My dad told me that GoldenEye was the best shooter of all time. I got to play that, and I got to buy a 64.
He was wrong, first of all.
They want those things that their parents grew up on. It's
Yeah.
like, you know how kids get into rock music. Their parents got them into Leonard Skinner and Kansas and those bands. Now all of a sudden, they love Leonard Skinner.
There's a difference, though, between music and video games. There's a huge difference between music and video games.
In Kansas. It's the same thing with video games. Their parents are going
A song takes 2.5 minutes to 4 minutes to listen to. A video game takes hours and hours to play.
to get them into 64 games. They're going to break out that box.
A song within a couple of beats and measures, okay, could bring back your childhood. Sure, you could look at a game and remember that moment, but that music has a different hit, man.
Of old Super Nintendo, and that kid's going to fall in love with the sprites and the music.
Z says, my son is 32 now. Very few memories for him gaming are the same. 10 maybe. But that's what I'm saying. That's a hell of a dice roll to say that all of a sudden my son, 30 years from now, is going to be like, Anthem, I'm going to buy that game because my dad played that game. You know what I mean?
And they're going to want that for themselves too. I think that it's nothing to be afraid of. I think that it might be a little bit, it might be just a little bit of fear of the unknown. But that unknown, to people that aren't afraid of that future, it's very bright for us.
One thing that I always say.
I hear what he's saying. His business, the less physical media happens, the more his prices can go up, because it becomes a more of a collector's niche at that point, right? So yes, if you already established business and you're selling nostalgia, then yeah, you're okay. But if no one's gonna open up a store, okay, and if they do, it's gonna be very, 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 very few people that do this. No one's gonna open a store with just gift cards, okay? Of nostalgia. Remember this card of Helldivers 2, and here's Pal World, and here's Skull and Bones digital copy. Here's Skyrim 6, right? Like no one's making money off of that.
Is like, I'm not in the speculation business. I'm in the adaptation business.
Exactly.
Right? Our jobs are not to predict what's going to happen. So as long as the market's currently good, I pretty much recommend it to people.
Yeah.
Everyone eats. And I've never really benefited from trying to predict what's going to happen 5-10 years down the line.
Yeah, I mean, adaptation is is easily the most important thing. Like I was mentioning earlier, I didn't have any type of love for Pokemon, but it started to show me that it was very, very profitable.
Yeah, I might start buying Pokemon cards on the side just to see if I can sell them.
I adapted into Pokemon. Same with other hobbies and other things that we offer. Lorcana is starting to get big.
Yeah.
We start to offer Lorcana now. We're adapting to what the market is dictating. And I think that that is a very, very powerful trait to have.
The hell's Lorcana? Disney trading card game? Is it like Magic the Gathering?
That you can easily segue into what is now considered popular and aggressively go after it. But that's another reason that it's really hard to start this business in 2024. You have to be aggressive. You have to be able to adapt very quickly. And if you're not, you're going to get left behind, and you're going to be one of those stores that closes in here.
Absolutely. So you talked about earlier, retirement at 50 is a big goal for you. Beyond that, like, what's your end game with all this?
Basically, I want to spend the next 13 years giving people the best experience they can get. I want to, which is aging me, by the way, I'm 37. Something that means a lot to me is
it doesn't get any better.
Putting it out there for people to have the best time they possibly can. The end goal after that is to literally sell this business, live off some of the money, and invest the rest. That's it. I just want to create a comfortable life for my children, my wife, and I want to live my life.
Isn't that what we all want? Right? I think all of us want the exact same thing.
I feel like working 70 hours a week since I was in my 20s, I've earned it.
Folks, if you are in the Fort Myers area, definitely check out Dynamo Collectibles. And if you want to see a video of a $5 million Pokemon card business owner who operates in his basement, I will link it right down here.
I'm sorry. A guy in his basement for Pokemon business. I've sold $5 million in 3 years. Guys, this is my last stream. I'm going to be a Pokemon card salesman from this point forward. What are we talking about? That's insane. That's insane. Go check out Phoenix Resale. The link is in the description down below. Link is in the description down below. Like, what are we talking about, dude? There was a time where I would go to Target and Walmart and card selection was always empty. That's insane. Like, what's the... It's got to be a huge competition, right? And I would assume they're all going for like one card. Yeah, Waterbear put it in our Discord, so appreciate Waterbear putting that in our Discord, and you're welcome. I like watching stuff like that. My channel is a weird channel. It really is. And I appreciate any of you guys that come in and hang out with us in the morning here. If you're here, like I always say, 1 second, 1 minute, or 1 hour, I appreciate you. I mean, I like just going on and just talking about random stuff, talking about gaming news, showing videos like that, just talking about random stuff. Right? It's more of you know, I don't have, all my friends one lives in Austin, Texas, one lives in South Florida, my brother lives in South Florida, right? All my friends are away from me. I don't have a group of friends, you know, around here, right? So, like, getting on here in the mornings and, like, having a chat with you guys, you know, it feels good. It feels fun. That sucked. I'm out. All right, peace out. Fort Myers. I might have to go next time I'm over there. College Bowl is loaded with more customization options than ever before. Here's a look at 2 teams. If you guys are, and I brought this up, we played Legend Bowl. Okay, we played Legend Bowl, and Legend Bowl is the 8-bit game that we played. Okay, the professional, like it's supposed to be like the NFL, but it's all made up teams or whatnot. They made one now with college, the college, like type of game. Okay. I implore you to check this game out. I think you can go play Legend Bowl or demo or something out there, right? Where you can go play it. And I guarantee you, I know this football game looks like shit because it's 8-bit, whatever. But I guarantee you this is a better experience than Madden football as far as gameplay-wise, right? So before you go buy that college football game from EA Sports, okay, go check out. This game is going to come out around the same amount of time, or same time. It's a lot cheaper, okay? And it's a much better football game. I can guarantee you that, okay? At least you know that the people that are making this game are passionate about what they're making. Over on this side of Florida, no one's playing Pokemon, only pickleball. You're on the east side, though, aren't you, Z? You're on the southeast side. A lot of pickleball players over there? I thought that definitely was a Tampa side. All right, what time is it? 1 o'clock? All right, we got plenty of other news stories to talk about this week. There's always more stories coming out. I do appreciate you guys coming out and hanging out with us. Us. I guess it's us. You and me. Appreciate it. We'll be back tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm not sure what we're going to be playing yet. I think we're going to be playing, Fort Myers is Tampa side. We'll be back tonight. We might be playing some Helldivers, so if you guys want to play some Helldivers, come on in. We'll be playing something. Make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Appreciate you very much, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.